Welcome to 24/7 Flat Earth Discord channel. Be sure to go to VC Check and 1 to get your VC verification tags to get involved in the conversation about our Earth. Be sure to bring your verifiable Earth curvature evidence, though.
Enemy spotted.
Petrie02, when the interviewer becomest interviewee.
Do geometry on a curved baseline. I would argue you can't, but the point is, let's take it back to what we're supposed to be experiencing in reality, which is drop. We're supposed to be experiencing curvature is supposed to equal drop.
Could I possibly instead talk about the questions I was initially having, instead of going further into this?
Well, I'm trying to take it back a step, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because what I'm talking about is not to do with the actual ground or anything. It's more moon and the sun stuff. Because I've never sort of, I guess there's always there's no flat Earth model, quote unquote. But I haven't heard any actual arguments about why everyone sees the same face of the moon, same side of it all the time.
I don't know.
That just seems like
in comparison to being in like I'm in the UK, but Australians see it upside down.
Yeah, but they don't see a different part of the moon. They just see the same moon, but rotated.
Why would we see a different part of the moon?
Because assuming the moon's local, people that are
you're thinking that you're going to see a different part of it because you're assuming that the moon's a sphere.
Well, if it wasn't a sphere, then it wouldn't always look round, right? If it was like a flat disc, when you look at a flat disc from an angle, it's not circular; it's an oval.
Oh. We're not claiming that the moon or the Earth, for that matter, is a shape. So you're assuming that you would see a different part of the Earth because the moon's a sphere. So I get that. If it was a sphere, you would see slightly round the curve in one place versus another. But no one's saying that the moon's a sphere, bro.
This is kind of what I'm saying, is that there just seems to be the moon. Everyone sees the same thing in the moon. It kind of rotates, but we don't actually know what it is, what shape it is, or anything, which seems very unsatisfying.
But that doesn't mean
that's an understatement.
But that doesn't mean that the Earth's a globe just because you don't see a different part of the moon.
Yeah, but that's just just what I'm saying, is that I'm here with some questions. Is there actually anything about? Does anyone know anything about the moon, or is it just it's a thing in the sky that kind of moves and people see different rotations but always the same face?
For one thing, the eclipse destroys the globe model. Do you know the difference between a lunar and a solar eclipse?
Well, I know the globe model definition of it. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, what would have to be the case for there to be a lunar eclipse? What the bodies, the sun, moon, Earth? What would have to be the case for the lunar eclipse?
The Earth is in between the moon and the sun.
Right, exactly. So can you have a lunar eclipse in the daytime?
Is this about the Selenian?
Selenian, exactly.
That's right.
So,
yeah, is that not just when it's so you're basically the moon? So the moon and the sun are in the globe model of a lunar eclipse. The moon and the sun are already on opposite sides of the Earth.
No, they need to be in alignment. Syzygy. So the sun,
not
then the
exactly
Earth,
right.
then the moon. Yeah, man, it's called a syzygy. The sun, the moon. The sun, the Earth, then the moon are in alignment to cast the shadow from under your feet upwards to the lunar surface. So the sun has to be under the body you're standing on to cast the shadow up the way. So how can that shadow, if it's a shadow, how can that be cast upwards onto the lunar surface if in fact the sun and moon are visible because they're both above the horizon? As well as that, the only excuse I've ever heard is refraction. Now, that is ridiculous because they're basically saying that the sun's really underneath your feet, but it's actually above your fucking head. So
It's
and we'll
not.
give them that. We'll
It's
just be right.
That's a joke.
Refraction, that's good enough. Refraction, we'll give you that, right? So how the fuck does the shadow or supposed shadow travel from the top of the moon downwards?
Do you know the like
Bro, answer the
angular?
question.
Do you know the like
Bro,
angular
answer the question.
elevation?
Bro, answer the question.
What questions?
The one that you weren't listening to.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm
know.
saying to you,
I was like,
right?
I was
Right, listen
prepping
then,
like a
bro.
question in my
Listen,
head. I'm
listen.
I've fucking ADHD,
Yeah, you did.
bro.
You
Don't
did
Listen,
the
worry.
bro.
same. You did the same about the theodolite question when I started asking about drop. I hope this isn't a tactic you use when you're in a corner, because it's going to show
Possibly.
your true colors here if you do it again.
Yeah, man.
Okay, calm down. I'm
So,
not
bro,
trying
right,
to
listen,
fucking
right?
debate. I'm just like,
Bro,
there's a lot of like
bro,
questions being thrown around.
bro,
I came
listen,
here
Yeah,
for
but
like one thing, and
we
you
don't
guys are
have
listen, man.
time
like,
to be circle jerked. Like, we're giving you the time to explain yourself, right? So when you throw your argument out, we have a rebuttal for you.
yeah.
You need to listen to it.
So, right,
Yeah.
bro,
So
listen
sorry,
to this,
can
right?
I explain my like
Bro,
line of thinking
listen.
first?
Well, listen, you've still never answered the question that you never heard.
And
So I'm trying to
we can
get
come
you,
back
bro,
to it
right?
quickly. I just want to explain my
No,
line
well,
of
listen,
thinking.
bro, listen. If those bodies are in alignment and they do what they're doing, and you're claiming refraction, even though you never said it, I gave you that answer because that's the only answer the globe's got. If that's the case, how can the shadow travel from the top of the moon downwards
Okay,
rather than
so
the bottom of the moon upwards?
So you said the sun is below your feet during a lunar eclipse, right?
Well, it should be in alignment. If you look at the lobby, I've just posted in the lobby.
That's a solar eclipse.
No, it's a lunar I just posted, it's not?
That's solar. That's the moon's blocking the sun from the Earth. But
No.
a lunar eclipse is the Earth is in between the.
The other one, wait a minute, I've got the other one, shit.
That's right. But yeah,
Fuck, where the
sorry.
fuck is
The
it?
question I was asking was, I wanted to ask about the, because you were giving me like essentially a hypothetical, right? About like, a hypothetical lunar eclipse, yeah?
How? What's hypothetical about a lunar eclipse?
You were giving me an example, fine, not hypothetical, but an example of like how a lunar eclipse works, right? And the question I was asking was trying to figure out more information about the example you were giving, because I wanted to, be able to fully answer it, because I was like, okay, so there's the Earth. On one side of the Earth, there's the sun. Well, okay, in the globe model, there's the Earth. One side of the Earth, there's the sun. Other side of the Earth, there's the moon. And you described it specifically as the sun being below my feet. But I'm pretty sure
No,
that.
below the horizon at least.
Hmm?
Below the horizon at least, it should be.
Yeah, it's yeah, it seems like.
How can how can there be a shadow on the moon at all if the sun's in
Right.
vision of the fucking moon?
Because
It's in
you're.
alignment. You can literally see the
Yeah,
moon. If you were standing on the moon, you would be able to see the sun, and if you were
Yeah.
standing on the sun, you'd be able to see the moon.
Yeah, the question I was asking that's relevant, it's not going away from it, is what is the angular, like vertical angular elevation of the moon during these Sunhelian eclipses?
Who cares?
Hmm?
Who cares? That's still
yeah.
not answering the
Because I
question that
think
we asked, you know?
it's similar
You've
to
still
why
not
you
answered
can.
the question. How
Real
can the
quick,
shadow
Petrie.
travel?
Isn't
Bro,
it
how can
similar
the
to?
shadow travel from the top downwards? That was the
Yeah,
question I asked you 5 times.
So
it doesn't travel from the top downwards because it's not
Does
really above you. It's like either side
bro,
of you. Like you are
bro,
sort of on the
bro,
top of.
take a look in the lobby, bro. You see exactly what I'm talking about. Now, the picture on the left, that was actually taken by a
Yeah, so
moderator.
it's similar to like.
Bro, I'm still talking. That was a partial lunar,
Yeah, it's like.
selenium lunar eclipse. Now, the image on the right, you'll see a selenium eclipse, but you'll also see the images with the balloons showing you about the shadow problem. The shadow is inverted in the selenium eclipse.
Oh, I get what
I
you're
would have
saying
thought
now,
the.
Craig. You're saying how is the sun below your feet yet there's a shadow on the moon? Yeah, it makes no sense if it's the Earth that's supposed to be in the way of the sun to block out the moon.
Well,
Right.
Of course not. That's why
isn't
it's
it
called
that
the
it's not
impossible
quite
eclipse, bro.
aligned? We can all agree that there are times where you can see both the moon and the sun, right?
Yeah, but you shouldn't be
Sometimes
able
you'll
to see
see
both,
the moon
bro.
in one direction, and in the other
Impossible.
direction there'll be the sun. Yeah.
It's impossible to see the both bodies above the horizon and a shadow being cast from underneath you upwards. That's ridiculous, bro. How can there be a shadow at all if the sun is in view of the moon? It's
Because
impossible, man.
that's why it's a partial eclipse, right? Is it possible to get a
Uh,
Selenian total
uh,
eclipse?
That was a partial Selenian eclipse that we caught, that some of the moderators were able to take pictures of.
Yeah,
But
and I
there is
think it.
Selenians. There's Selenians where the shadow travels downwards, and there's shadows travelling upwards in some of the Selenians. So it's not always the same thing. Sometimes they're
What do
in
you
the
mean?
morning, sometimes they're in the morning in the daylight, and sometimes they're in the dark. So it's not
But yeah,
always the
it
same.
seems like so
They're kind of
in
like
this
black swans. They're like black swans, bro. They've been seen once,
it's
like, and they've been seen for hundreds of years. The Royal Society and like God knows how many other of these sort of associations, groups of fucking paedophiles probably. But there's all these groups of people that have been recording these Selenians happening for centuries. And there's like it's the is it the Greek, not the Greek, the Chinese Eratosthenes, and I read some shit about it, and he was talking about, he made some kind of, it was translated obviously, but he spoke about the Selenian eclipse being destructive to the globe model.
mm, I mean, yeah, the
Because
explanations I'm seeing online are about atmospheric refraction stuff, which is a little bit annoying because I thought, well, it's probably still possible even without a Selenian eclipse to see one without refraction, but it would be a partial one and probably with the top of the moon showing, right?
yeah, but there's partial ones and full ones, bro. Like, and at the end of the day, man, like, even if only one's been seen, one's enough, man. One's literally enough to destroy the model.
Yeah, but I just don't want to go into the argumentation of it.
Hey,
I'm
what
not
was
prepared to like argue all of the like refraction stuff, whatever. I do think
Bro, I've never even mentioned refraction. Like, I'm
well
not talking
because
about
sorry, I'm saying
refraction as
that's
anything.
what I'd go into. That's why I'm bringing it up. Is what I'd go into
Like,
or what I'd want to go into.
sorry, I meant to say you never mentioned refraction. Like, I
Yeah, I know
said
I
to you,
didn't.
that's the only excuse that the globe's got, that the sun is refracted
Yeah, I
from
think in this
underneath
case
the
it
head.
would be a refraction thing, possibly.
Do you
I'm not.
believe
I'm
that,
not.
bro?
Can I
Do
ask
you
a
believe?
question?
I believe
Obviously,
refraction's a thing. Yeah.
I
Can I
never
ask
said
a
that, bro. You
question?
know what I'm saying? Stop being fucking dishonest, mate. I never said
Hold
to
on
you.
a
I
second.
sorry. I don't know
Hold
what
on a
you
second.
believe. Okay, it's
I never said that,
let
bro.
us.
Stop being deceptive, man. I never said to you,
He's not doing
is
it on purpose.
refraction a thing? I never
I
said to you, is
genuinely don't.
refraction a thing, bro?
Okay,
Yeah, I don't
sorry,
think he's doing
but
it on purpose, Spake,
Sorry,
but
Spake. I don't mean to speak over you.
yeah.
you.
It's good,
Okay,
man.
so to be clear, you literally said, "Do I believe in refraction?" And me,
No,
not knowing,
I never
not being
said,
in the
I never
flat Earth
said, do you
space, I
believe
don't
in
know.
refraction? I never said that, man.
Did you not
That
say, "Do
that
I
wasn't
believe
his
in
question.
refraction"?
I
No.
never said, do you believe in refraction? I'm saying, do you believe that refraction's causing the sun to be
Oh,
under your
I
feet,
thought you
but
said, "Do I
really
believe in
it's actually.
refraction?" It's
I
like a
still never fucking finished the sentence. You never heard what I said. I was
sorry.
repeating what I said, then you spoke over it.
Okay.
Fuck's sake, man.
Petrie, one thing I have a theory that a lot of people potentially in your shoes won't be able to think in the way we do about science and about what we can prove until they can fathom the idea of why the lie, why could this be true, how could there possibly be a world where the earth is flat yet everybody 90% of the world believe it's a globe. And I genuinely believe the problem you're having here is that you think this is so, the idea of it is so ridiculous that you're able to appeal to authority or appeal to the consensus more comfortably than we can. Because when you look at, you're invoking terrestrial refraction here, and when you start looking into some of these things that you believe in and have faith in, you'll find that they don't pass the scientific method in terms of
Bro,
We can't prove the cause. We can't actually prove terrestrial refraction is a thing when we have
Well,
corpuscular sun rays. Does that make sense? But the point is that until you understand a world where this idea, this deception could actually be true, then I think you're going to have cognitive dissonance when questioned on these things.
Well, I don't think I've invoked an authority figure really that much.
yeah,
Terrestrial
bro.
refraction. Terrestrial
Hmm?
And
refraction is
terrestrial
Well,
something that
refraction.
you can't
I said I'm
prove.
not. I said I'm not gonna I don't really want to go into it because I'm not I haven't mentally, not mentally prepared, but I haven't looked into it right now. I don't have the
Bro,
things
bro,
to mind. So I
bro,
don't really want to go into it right now. I'm not.
bro,
So
I
I'm
think
specifically not going into that.
Bro, I sent you a video, the heavyweights of the server discussing refraction indexes, optics, these theodolites, surveyors. It's like an hour and a half, 2.5 hour possibly conversation. I sent it to your DM, and it's fucking a lot of it's well over my head, man. I can't understand a lot of it, man. It's far too complicated. But yeah, if you want to hear the bones being broken down about refraction and these problems with optics, then that video you'll love.
Yeah, Petrie, we're not trying to stress this point here, and I know you saying you don't want to focus on it, but just to cap it off, and let's take a step back from it after this. But you're invoking terrestrial refraction, where the light is entering the atmosphere and then bending to conform to the shape of a ball. This is something that is not observable in nature, and we don't even see parallel rays coming into the atmosphere. What we see are corpuscular rays coming out from clouds, which insinuate a local light source. So, how did we get to this conclusion? It's not because we are conspiracy theorists and we would like to believe stuff. It's because we got to a point in our mind where we actually said, right, I need to be able to prove the science that the globe has as its proof. Okay, so they use some arguments. They'll have their proof. Can we test these things and determine whether these things are actually real science or whether they fall under what's called pseudoscience, i.e., theoretical science? And what you'll find is terrestrial refraction is not falling under the repeatable, observable, testable science of refraction. Refraction is a thing, but terrestrial refraction is based on a sun in a space vacuum where the light is traveling through a vacuum of space and then entering an atmosphere. There is no way to prove it when our observations show a local corpuscular ray source. You cannot just jump to these conclusions unless you have a genuine want to prove the globe or prove flat Earth. Either way.
Yeah, the corpuscular rays, is that not just they're essentially parallel, but parallel lines don't necessarily always look parallel. If a set of parallel lines, you'd agree that train tracks convert, as they go far away, they appear to converge, when you're looking at them.
Talking about the loud
And
perspective.
Yeah, that's a different thing,
That's
but yeah.
different.
Well, it's still a thing. Like parallel lines, as parallel lines go away from you, they appear to converge.
Have you
Right?
seen corpuscular rays?
Not recently, but I mean, I've seen
a
pictures of
picture.
them, obviously.
Yeah. Look up a picture of them real quick. Just without knowing exact science or having an angular sextant to measure it, just take a look at corpuscular rays and ask yourself if those corpuscular rays that are coming down through the clouds at angles make it seem as if the light source from that are causing those rays seem much closer than 93 million miles away.
Oh, sure, they seem like that. Yeah, that's
and you can
what it
measure
looks
those.
like.
You can measure those corpuscular rays with an angular sextant, come to the focal point, and actually find out that it's much closer than.
What are the measurements? What are they
It
figured out as
depends.
being?
All different measurements, but it's around 3,000-ish miles, according Am I right on that, Big Root? Something like that? About 3,000 or so miles?
What's that? The distance of the sun?
Yeah.
I don't think it's in this part of the conversation. I don't think it's clever to quote, to make any estimates. I think it's crepuscular rays are evidence of a local sun, and I
Right.
think if you want us to start throwing numbers out for you, then you're missing the point. The point is that parallel rays is part of theoretical science. Yeah, parallel rays coming in to the Earth's atmosphere and then being able to refract 360 round a ball potentially is a theoretical idea. It's pseudoscience. It's not scientific. And the only reason why I'm bringing up corpuscular rays is because that's what we observe in nature. So what I'm saying, I'm trying to bring the conversation back because I'm not going to accept pseudoscience as as a globe Earth proof. If you want to actually prove the shape of the Earth to be a globe, you're going to have to address the curvature argument, the drop, the lack of drop, the lack of physical drop, and the lack of Coriolis. This is the only way that you can prove with real world physical scientific evidence a globe. And unfortunately, it's contradictory to all the evidence is contradictory to the globe.
Do you not find it? Do you not have any interest in doing those measurements about crepuscular rays? Or like, because it seems like if you have these crepuscular rays and they are, as you say, they look like they should, have a sun that is quite, well, in some cases barely above the clouds, right? It looks like you should be able to measure it, right? It just seems weird that no one seems interested.
How do you know that the sun? Yeah, because you're not. This is what I mean. You're in a different headspace where you already think the globe's true, so you just think it's easy to unpick. But what you're not understanding is that what we are seeing in the sky, we do not know whether it is a physical object or whether it's an apparent reflection. Okay, and you might think that's ridiculous at this point. But when you look at the nature of the sun and you look at what some of the older scientists, pre 60s, were saying about the nature of the sun and the nature of the moon and the nature of reality, it was a very different picture. The sun was not always assumed to be a physical combustible gas bomb. Okay, we're trying to tell you that the sun is not a flaming ball object of gas. Okay, and that's a big point. You've got to take this into account when you're trying to pre-assume the location of the sun. We don't do that here. We don't pre-assume things. And looking at the sky is no way to determine the shape of the Earth. And this is the bit you're missing here. We don't want to focus on the theoreticals. We want to focus on the provable evidence that we have of either curvature or drop.
Yeah, I'm right now just wanting, like, these things interest me and I want to find out about them. I'm not looking right now to talk about these, like, big, like, curvature drop things. And it's just, this is just something that's, like, kind of interesting, like these questions. And so I want to talk about them. That's it.
Bro, especially in the live stream, it's not really about what you want to discuss. Like, the topic of the server is flat Earth. The evidence that we need to say the Earth is a globe is either drop over a specific distance, depending on elevation and blah blah blah, or motion. Like, so we're trying to get down to the brass tacks of, does this thing exist that we've been told?
So corpuscular rays just kind of isn't a thing, or
What do you mean? Well, they are a thing.
Corpuscular rays are a thing.
Yeah, sorry.
You
It's not like a relevant thing to flat Earth, it seems. Because it seems to me, like you could very easily get two people in two different locations looking at the same set of corpuscular rays and do some maths to figure out whereabouts it is. But no one's done that.
Well, no, they have. Supposedly, they don't intersect what they should.
That's not true. That's been done, and they come up with different numbers for each person.
every time.
It's,
Right.
the
Yep.
lines don't intersect. Supposedly, like when you see like a sun, it's just basically like a rainbow. Like you're seeing the sun from your perspective. You're seeing your own personal specific sun in a
Okay.
specific place. So
So
everywhere you're going to go, you're going to see slightly. It's going to be slightly different depending on the viewer.
okay. So
Depending on
to
how
be
the light comes in your eye, basically, is what he's saying.
so
Yeah.
so you're saying that there is some weird light bending stuff going on in the atmosphere to make it look different for everyone. That's basically the explanation. Because it's
No,
not just
I'm telling
eyes, it's
you. No,
cameras,
no,
it's
no.
everything, right?
No, I'm telling you, you and I and nobody knows what the sun is, knows what the sun's made of. We don't know whether this is a reflection. We don't know whether this is what it is, whether it's
Projection.
yeah, projection, exactly. So what I'm saying is, rather than pre-assuming stuff, which is a habit you ballers have, and this is where you guys really struggle with us flat earthers, because we have got here by using a logical scientific mind. We do not like fallacious arguments or fallacious reasoning to come to conclusions. We need to make sure that what we are looking at is a part of science, i.e., it is testable and relatable. I think the biggest thing here is that this isn't even relatable to the shape of the Earth. The shape of the Earth is, yeah, sorry, go ahead, but the shape of the Earth is not related to this.
It's not related to science either, man. Science is a specific thing. It's establishing cause and effect relationships. So this is a geometry question, not a scientific question, man.
Yeah, but I still find it interesting.
Yeah. It's
I just
interesting,
Find it
but it's a
interesting.
bit
It's
of
not fun.
yeah, it's a bit of gaslighting from yourself, because you're entering this conversation, trying to prove the Earth is a globe with a pre-assumption that it's a globe, but actually you're not taking the time to realize that it's theoretical. It's all theoretical pseudoscience. And when you actually focus on what is provable and what can be tested with the scientific method, you'll find you'll always come back to no curvature and no motion, i.e. Coriolis. It is the drop in the Coriolis that you cannot find, which is why the flat earthers win these debates and arguments, because it is the only non-fallacious argumentation you can have. Everything else is an appeal to some sort of bullshit.
Okay. So I came into this conversation with some questions in mind. It has led here, obviously, but it was mostly about essentially about how flat Earth thinking might explain certain things, and it's entirely, maybe it's just we don't know.
What the fuck
But I'm
is flat
just
earth
like,
thinking, dude? What is flat earth thinking? Empirical, like logical, articulate, coherent? Like, is that flat earth thinking? Because that's what it seems to me. Like my experience in it, I'm not being biased because I'm a flat earther. Flat earthers are the most fucking logical people I've ever met. So I don't know
Very
why you're
strict.
saying flat earth thinking. Like you're just pure
Yeah.
stereotyping like a bunch of retards.
This is why I'm saying, why would they lie? For you is a more important topic than the stars.
Right.
I mean, maybe, but right now I don't. That's right now more interesting to me. I'm not spending all of my time every day thinking about the most important question. Sometimes I just want to talk about corpuscular rays or the moon or whatever.
You're curious, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's literally what I wrote. Is that I'm curious about these specific questions, and I was wondering if there was an answer, and it seems like it's been dragged to some complete other side of the
Well,
sort
hold
of
on a second.
space.
Big Root has a great point. What he's saying is you have to get into your psyche of the possibility that Earth is flat and that they are actually completely lying to you in every possible way about the shape of the Earth. And the question is, why? That's a question that you have to kind of reconcile. Like, okay, if they are lying about the shape of the Earth, why the hell would they do that? That's like one of the first questions you got to really try and answer if it is possible. Like it's a journey of self-realization about what you've been told, number one, and what you can observe and measure, number two. Right now, you're trying to do number two when you haven't done number one. You get what that's kind of like what Big Root's
That
saying.
sounds like it's that seems like dangerously close to some sort of like you have to, believe the Earth is flat before you can do the measurements on whether the Earth is flat.
Do you
No,
believe
that's not what he
people on
said.
Do you believe people on TV when they tell you certain things?
It
Yep.
depends on who's saying it and what they're saying.
Also, it depends on if
It's
they have
still
a
a
lab coat
belief.
on or not.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't. There was multiple people talking. I didn't hear
Does
anything.
it depend on if they have a lab coat on or not?
Probably not. I don't think I've seen many people with lab coats on TV at all. So
What
most
about
recent would have been like the
what
slow
about
mo
people
guys.
telling you? What about people telling you that the air is going to kill you? You believe in that?
I don't think I've seen any people saying the air's gonna kill me. Also, I'll
Bullshit.
be right back. I want to get a drink. Be right back.
Well, you've not heard what's going on in the past couple of years, then.
Yeah, that's why
I'm. Hold on one
Right.
sec. I'm gonna get a drink. My mouth is
Right.
quite dry from
He
talking.
doesn't know what's going on. He just if he forgot about that.
Well,
I don't think he realizes how how when you phrase it like that, it sounds ridiculous, doesn't it?
hey, listen, I'm brand spanking new here, but this is exactly what I've been looking for. So thank you guys, all of you.
My
This
man.
place,
Bro.
is amazing, boy. You'll not find another place on the internet like this, man.
And it's like it's also helping me too in terms of formulate arguments. It's like, yeah,
Yeah, man.
you don't want to focus on the speculative bullshit. You don't want to focus on the things that could be or could not be.
What's
If you
concrete?
focus on what's concrete. When you focus on the concrete, it's almost irrefutable. And
Hello, I'm back.
So my question to you is: do you believe that air is going to kill you?
Generally no.
But sometimes.
I don't know. It depends.
What about 2 years ago?
Yeah, when they shut everything down because the air was so scary that you couldn't even be around other people.
Oh, I don't want to. Wait, I don't want to talk about COVID.
I know you don't want to talk about it because you know
I
it's
don't
all
either.
bullshit. And
None
you
of
want
us
to know
wanna
why
talk
they
about
don't,
it.
you don't even want to know why people lie to you.
I'm just.
the point of the matter is,
It feels like it's like I want to talk about like a specific thing and not immediately being like
right.
a huge like
Bash.
I'm
first you have
pointing
to
out-
believe every conspiracy in the world ever before
Yeah.
you
Whoa,
can.
whoa.
I'm
believe-
pointing out to you that you were lied
It's-
to. You know it. We all know it. But maybe you don't know it. Maybe you think that air will kill you someday, and a piece of cloth is going to save you.
Well, at the very least, it seems disingenuous to say people are saying air is going to kill you. That's not what they're saying. They're not saying it's the air. But I really don't want to come into like COVID
Well, check
talks.
it out. Check it out. The point of him saying that is you believe certain things from authority and not other things, right? Do you trust your government?
It depends on what things.
It depends on what they're telling you. So you believe some
Yeah,
lies and some truth.
There's
right?
some things where it's like I can't live without having to like outsource some sort of like knowledge to other people. I can't know everything. I have to trust someone, trust in something, basically. And it seems like there's more checks and balances on government stuff than on like myself.
What about 9/11?
That's unfortunate to hear, to be honest with you.
He's
So
in there deep.
Bro, do you accept the official narrative for 9/11?
Hmm?
Do you accept the official narrative for 9/11?
I mean, I haven't really looked into it. I don't.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
not
you
a
know
huge
what
like.
happened, bro. Come on, the fuck, don't be fucking.
Well, yeah, I generally,
so-
it seems like
right,
it was,
so
a hijacked plane that crashed into it, and
so 2 aluminium planes took out, I think it was 8 buildings in total, but it actually took 3 buildings out that day. The rest of them had to be demolished. But the Twin Towers and Building 7 came down with 2 planes. And Building 7 fell free fall live on TV, and the BBC even reported that it collapsed. 13 or 17 minutes or some shit before it even happened. The woman was like, "We're now reporting from the scene of the Twin Towers atrocity. We've got to report now. Building 7's also collapsed," and it was still fucking standing behind her, bro.
So
And then
you
it collapsed
believe the
15 minutes
actual
before
official
later.
narrative of 9/11? Like actually everything in the official commission report?
I mean, I have no idea what the official commission report is. I haven't read it.
Okay.
Bro, I sent you a video. It's called 9/11 in 5 minutes. Try and debunk a single point that's made in that video. I guarantee you every single thing's verifiable.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you guys are some random people on the internet. I'm not
Mhm.
particularly interested in deep
But
diving
random
into
people are
9/11
intelligent
stuff.
and telling you the air is
Oh,
gonna is really scary is worth listening to. You're
No,
just
the point of the 9/11 stuff is that you were asked if you trust the government. So, do you think that it's a little bit more extreme for them to do those Twin Towers and Building 7, then bring out the Patriot Act, then invade fucking in total, like it was at 9 or 11 countries, and exterminate literally millions of people, destroying countries, their economies, so they could set up fucking the Western democracy? Like, let's go and spread democracy. Let's bomb fuck out everybody, steal their
Let's kill
resources,
children
and bomb
in
the life at them.
Middle East
Yeah, man.
countries. Yeah.
No, even that. See the first Gulf War, the Britain and America put sanctions on Iraq, and they killed literally. It's fucking recorded. Hundreds of thousands of children died because of those sanctions.
And she
Hundreds
said
of
it was
thousands.
worth it. Yeah. That's fucking crazy. That's
It's
crazy.
insanity, man. And I'm telling a lie
I don't
about
know. You
the
said like
yeah.
10 things.
Petrie, how
So
old are you?
I am 26.
26. I'm 28. I'm not too far off from how old
Hello,
you are.
28-year-old.
So, check it out, Petrie. The point that we're trying to make here is that you're coming into a debate about flat Earth, correct? Right? You want to know some things about
I
flat Earth.
mean, kind of, but I'm more looking at like I'm curious about the. I'm not particularly
Are
interested
you trying to get a
in conspiracy stuff.
psychoanalysis of flat Earth thinking? Is that what you're trying to do here?
That's exactly what he's doing. Yeah,
Maybe I don't know.
that's what it's
Because it seems
Listen,
like
It
that's
depends
what you're
on your
doing.
what do you mean by psychoanalysis?
can I
Because you're
just
not
get this out
actually
before
trying to
he responds?
answer. You're not trying to answer or debate certain things or beliefs that you have. You're not one way or the other. You're just like, I want to see into the mind of these flat earthers and see if they're
Yep.
actually fucking crazy. That's what it
Yep.
seems like.
And we get lots of you. We get at least one of you a day who come in with a very calm, I'm just here to ask questions. But we can actually see straight through where your thinking is. So I'm just letting you know that, like, we see this every day, and we know kind of can see where your head's at.
I'm like
I
brand new and I
literally
see it,
have
dude.
a few questions written down. It has massively derailed from any of the questions I have, but I like at the very least initially I wanted to see if there was some sort of explanation on the flat earth side of things for a few phenomena that are explained, from my understanding at least, in the
Like
globe
what?
earth model.
Yeah, what's your big three, like Spake asked
So
you
the
earlier?
first one, so one of the ones I asked earlier was about the moon always facing everyone. Like everyone sees the same moon. Like that
we
was
debunked
I
the
asked
moon
about that
with the
earlier.
eclipse.
I mean,
That doesn't
okay,
explain why everyone sees the same face of the moon,
hold
though,
on.
right? That's
So
my
that's your
question
first
I had.
globe proof? That's your first globe
It's a,
proof that
it's,
you know you're
I,
on a globe based off of what the moon looks like? That's what you're saying?
I'm not saying it's a proof of the Earth. I'm saying that it is something that
That was his
I-
question. What is your globe proof? What is one proof? At least one. He asked three, but just at least one proof of how you know that you were on a ball. That is the question.
I came here to ask questions, not to
Oh,
prove the
for
Earth.
fuck's sake.
I
He can't
literally
even give
wrote
one
that
proof of why he thinks he lives on a ball. Like boats go over the horizon or anything like that. He can't give us one of them.
I could think of one, but I'm not interested in thinking of one right now. I'm interested in
You're just
this.
interested in drinking the Kool-Aid that you're fed and seeing
I'm
if
interested in
other people
seeing
drink
if
it.
the flat Earth, if there's any flat Earth people that can explain these certain things. I'm not interested in arguing the other side. I'm literally just here because I know that there's like there's not really a model, but I'm wondering
No,
if
we
there's
don't
a
explain the
few
moon. So
individual
that's your
phenomena that
answer.
can be explained
Yeah,
by
we don't
flat
explain the
Earth stuff.
moon. We just debunk things with the moon.
What's the next
So-
one?
Okay, so sorry, Febby, is that how you pronounce it? What did you
Flat
just
Earth
say?
Bureau of Investigation.
Okay.
I'm here to
What? Sorry,
psychoanalyze.
what did you just? Could you repeat what you last said? I think
Yeah,
it
I'm
didn't
from
come
the
through properly.
Flat Earth Bureau of Investigation.
No,
I'm here to psychoanalyze people.
the bit before that about the moon.
The moon. We're already done with the moon
Let's go to
because
your next proof. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
we
so
talk
to
about
be
it.
clear, so my question was about the moon. You know, everyone sees the same, moon, the same part of the moon. It might be, rotated or whatever, but it's always like this round thing in the sky, right? And there's not really a flat Earth explanation for that. That's all I want to know.
Okay, so I'm going to say this again. We don't talk about the moon anymore because it's in the sky. What am I going to do about it? It
I'm just
works perfectly
okay.
fine, and the Earth is flat, and I don't care about it. It's not like there's anything to explain. It doesn't work on a globe. We know that. We've already proven that. So after that, who gives a shit?
Okay, so are you okay with me interpreting that as the answer being we don't care what the moon is? Yep.
Correct.
Okay, that's question. That's like one of the first
To
questions.
be honest, there's so many people that come into this with this kind of line of questioning that yeah, we don't give a shit what you think because you're probably still on level 1 of trying to figure out what the fuck is actually going on in this world. Like,
yeah.
do you care
I
about
haven't.
what's going on with your life, or like what are the implications of authority figures that you trust lying to you daily? Don't you
Yeah.
actually ask that question? Like,
So you said that I'm on level 1 of, this stuff, and I kind of am.
it's
Like I haven't
expression.
really
Yeah.
looked into it very much, but I'm curious about like some specific aspects. It's not a very deep interest of mine, but I'm like, I've seen a bunch of flat Earth debates, and they seem to have unsatisfying answers to things. And I was seeing if I could find some satisfying answers for things.
Check it out. You said it yourself. You're on level 1, right? What's level 1? Level 1 is figuring out why do you believe that you're on a globe? How about you ask yourself that? When you can walk outside, look outside, and feel every day, every moment that the earth is A, not moving, and B, everything that is in the sky moves around Polaris. That's it. That's something you can observe right away. Number 1. Number 2, if you can't even like take a moment to fucking question what the hell you're being told from authority figures and you trust them just because they have a certification or degree and think that that somehow that they can't be bought out or influence in some way to serve some type of agenda. If you haven't even gotten to the question like, maybe there was something to um, questioning the COVID-19 lockdowns, or as Febby was saying, being scared of fucking air and not being able to go outside your house because of air, literally. That's why he was saying how ridiculous that is. Like, you actually like believe the air would kill you 2 years ago, like you wore the mask and everything. Did all that shit, right?
Yeah.
And I bet you still have one, and it's embroidered. It's a special one of your own.
I do. I did get a mask. Actually, no. I will say it was a
I
gift.
can
It was a
tell
gift mask. I didn't buy it
that wear
myself,
masks
right?
that have their own name on it in stars and stripes from people
Um,
who are forced to wear paper ones. I can tell the difference.
You can say
So
it has stars and stripes. I'm in the UK. I can write. It's just stripes.
so you're in the UK, right? So next pandemic or disease or virus or whatever the hell you want to call it comes down the line, and your local let's say grocery store, or even you going into a bank, or at a certain point where if you don't get this certain medicine or certain vaccine, you're not going to be able to enter. You're totally okay with that? You're like okay with having that much power over you, essentially.
I mean, I guess.
So you're okay with being told what to do to that extent. You don't
it-
have any thoughts for yourself. You just have to rely on authority and
well, it
what they
depends on
tell you.
how, if the government body is, seems like they have an authority and on a certain thing. Like, I'm not going to trust.
Okay. Let me ask a different question. When do you not trust the government? Has there been instances where you were like, "Oh yeah, they're bullshitting"?
I don't know if I can think of a specific thing. Again, it does. I feel like there's probably a few things. However,
Okay.
I
There's a
don't
few
know.
things where you were like, what they're telling me is probably not accurate, right? You've had that notion?
Yeah, like politicians doing politician things, right?
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if there'd be anything big. I will admit that.
No,
But
but
it'll be things like,
the
well,
point I'm trying to
there's like
say is,
political scandals where they deny shit, and then it's like obviously not true.
whoa. What I'm trying to make a point about is the fact that at some point in your life you've watched the television or seen social media or have gotten your information from authoritative figures, and at one point you were like, whatever the fuck this guy is saying is not really hitting right. It's not. I think he's lying to me. And you're gonna trust that same source of information with God forbid your health. You see what I'm saying?
Well, it wouldn't be the same source of information because the government isn't like a blob that has one output, right? There's like different departments of it. And like the health department, I generally trust with health related things, and depending on the other departments, I would, ascribe different amounts of trust to them. And
why would you ascribe different amount of trust to different departments? Why? Where's your delineation? Like, why do you have that delineation? Curious. Something scratching your mind, right? Something. You're like,
it would basically be like how much I care about it. Like with health stuff, it's like probably just going to be like
you're 100% on board,
I've
right?
no hope of possibly, there's so much knowledge within, health, and doctors are, they study a lot. They have a lot of knowledge on things, and it seems like generally they help people. So I'm inclined
so because they have a
believe them.
doctorate, right? So if someone you just met on the internet, came up to you and was like, "Hi, I'm Dr. Johnson," right? And I'm a doctor. You need to trust me. And according to my test that I just took here, you need to start taking all this shit. You would actually trust my word just because of the fact that I'm a doctor?
I mean, it would depend a lot on the context. I wouldn't necessarily believe that you're a doctor if you approached me in the street, but if it was within the context of like, I went into a, went to a doctor and was like, and they were
You
like,
went to
oh,
a
hey, we'll run
hospital,
some,
right?
we
Or
run some
a clinic.
tests, and
Yeah.
then they run the tests and they say, hey, you've got everything cancer.
Right.
Take these everything cancer pills. I'd probably take the everything cancer pills because I don't really know better.
Okay.
But bro, those doctors don't know nothing about those pills as well, eh? They
Right.
just get given them, man. They're general practitioners. They study. They've got fucking case studies, and they've got all this shit they've got to do. But the drugs that they're getting from these companies, they're not testing any of that, mate. They're just taking it in good faith that the stuff that they're getting handed to them, these vaccines that they're giving to children that are full of mercury and animal genetics and everything, they're just going fucking all with the flow, eh? It's their job, so they just go along with it. It's like teachers. People think, oh, so that must mean teachers and lecturers, they're all in on the line. No, they're just teaching what they've been taught. Like, they're
Right.
just part of a cog in the fucking system.
Have you ever thought about the incentivization of pharmaceutical companies coercing doctors into prescribing certain medications over other ones because of
Giving them
financial
cars.
incentive?
Hey, man, giving them money and holidays and fucking
Yeah.
go to Cancun for a big fucking doctor fucking where loads of doctors go and they all party for a weekend and shit.
Is
But
that the case even in the NHS?
yeah, especially the NHS, dude. do you know how much fucking financial incentive is backed into medicine-based royalties? All these fucking scientists that literally push certain drugs, like for example Fauci with remdesivir, right? Remdesivir as a fucking therapeutic or
Oh, was
whatever.
that the antibodies thing, or was that something else?
I'm not exactly sure what it is, but
Don't
it's the
remember.
point that it had nothing to do with it being better for you. It had everything to do that it was financially incentivized to.
That
That's why they pushed it. It's like someone having a clearance sale, bro. I got to get rid of the drug. Hey, take this. This will feel good. It's
I
the
don't know.
the reason why I'm pestering you on this is the fact that you've never had that thought cross your mind that maybe I should look into what the fuck I'm being told to take a little bit more, just in case, on the off chance that this is a Trojan horse and I might be actually taking something that would be fucking horrible
I
for me.
mean, like how much I like understand
How much you
the.
would care about your own life, right? That's what you're saying.
Well, I don't know how much I'd look into. I don't. Well, it depends on your definition of look into
Bro,
things. It depends
Do you
on
care
how
about your
you.
bro,
life?
think, bro,
Holy
think about it.
Yes.
Look at the
I
doctors that have actually stood up and they've been ridiculed and had fucking stuff made up about them. They've been sacked, they've lost their jobs, probably affecting their family. They've probably been divorced and everything because of this shit. Because some
Right.
doctor, they're just not going to stand for it and they know the fucking truth. So some of these doctors, like, if they're just going along with it, they're part of the fucking the scam. They're just as complicit as the people inventing it. If they're just
Yeah.
sitting silent and going to accept the fucking their wages every week, but they know something's wrong.
Okay, let me ask you this, Petrie. Do you believe in whistleblowers?
Yeah, they're a thing.
Okay, I mean, I don't know if you've
Hmm.
seen it or not, but do you know about thousands, I don't know about hundreds of doctors in the UK who didn't want to go with what they were being told because they knew as a doctor that what they were doing was actually harmful towards their patients. And those doctors, like Spake was saying, have all been taken out of the system, lost their license. Now they can't feed their kids, they can't get into the medical field anymore. And you know why? Do you think they did that just because of some crazy conspiracy theory that thought that they have in their head and it was for a political reason? Or do you think that
Yeah,
they did that because they actually cared about the people they were
because,
taking care of and they couldn't
well,
in good conscience do it? Do you get what I
it's
mean?
because
Like,
well, it's because they fucking agree with the Hippocratic Oath and they're going to stand up for it. They had to fucking do it to become a doctor, the Hippocratic Oath. So they've got to fucking, I don't know if they have to sign something, but there is a specific statement that basically that they will do no harm to their patients and they'll
correct.
fucking help them
Yeah,
till the
I know
end,
that.
till they're dying breath.
There's hundreds of those doctors, bro. That means there's
No,
Yeah,
there's
something
do
there,
you do
man.
you, do you have like something like I probably won't look into it honestly.
But but it's just the fact that these
But I am
people
curious.
were
Is there
willing
like a
to
where
lose all their
where's
entire
and
livelihood
do you have something with
for
the hundreds of doctors?
have you looked into
does it
any
matter if it's
vaccines that
one or two or 100?
I've
It's the
got?
fact that
Well,
this happened for
well,
real.
Petrie, I've got
then
loads of vaccine studies. If that's any good to you, if you want to look into some of the vaccine stuff.
I don't think I'm really interested in the vaccine stuff.
You should be.
The hundreds of doctors. Is it like what? Well, where you
Okay,
like link some examples or
I'll be
something?
honest with
Because
you.
like
I'll be honest with you. When I say hundreds of doctors, I'm referring to American doctors because I'm in America. Now, when it comes to
okay,
the
well
UK,
you did say specifically in the NHS when you said the thousands of doctors in the UK.
well, well, thousands of
Yeah.
doctors in the world who
Okay,
lost their licenses,
So,
okay? But mostly in America that I know about, the NHS, that's real. That's
ah,
documented.
wait,
That's
what?
not a conspiracy theory. There's hundreds
Any
of doctors that lost their license for not wanting to prescribe remdesivir, or that they prescribed fucking ivermectin or hydrochloroquine and they lost their fucking license because they didn't want to they wanted to prescribe that to their patients because they know that that was going to be effective as an effective treatment or even
yeah, I don't know
well,
prophylactic.
the I
Well,
know the
I tell
details
you
of any of
one.
these, but
Well, I'll tell you one doctor. I had to look him up there because I wasn't sure his first name, but it's Andrew Wakefield, and he was long before COVID. He was talking about the link between autism and vaccines,
oh, it was
and
that guy.
because
Okay.
they make out that there's only like one study and it was incorrect and blah blah blah, but there's fucking hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, man. I've literally got scores and scores of vaccine studies, man.
Well, specifically with the autism thing.
That's a direct
Some of them,
link.
some of them got autism, yeah.
There you go. There's your proof right there. He just sent it to you.
Where? What?
Where did you put it, Spake?
No, I've not sent it yet.
Okay.
He's almost sending it to you. But like, okay. I'm gonna be honest with you, Petrie. I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like even if you fully went into this, let's say not even flat Earth, but just anything, anything that we were here to show you and like actually had facts about, you still wouldn't believe it. Like it's like you have your head in the sand on purpose. It's like you're defending the authoritative appeal. Like why? Why are you defending authority? I don't
I
get
think
it.
he was raised that way, actually. I think he was actually raised to go along with whatever the police say, whatever's on TV, whatever the news says. 'Cause he's only 26.
Shit, bro, I'm 28.
Okay. Going back to I mean, I guess it's another moon and sun thing, so I guess you don't really care. I was
It's
going
not
to ask
about
about like
that. It's not about that.
well,
His
I
questions to
again,
you originally
came
was
I
3
came
glow proofs, right? 3 absolute fucking things that you feel that are this is why I know I'm on a goddamn ball. What is that? Like what do you stand on?
I
What
mean,
are you willing to
it's
die
more
on
just
for that?
like things that again, I've seen flat Earth debates, and I haven't heard any satisfying answers to these questions. And I guess
Question.
in a roundabout way, I don't know if would I call them proofs. I don't know if I call them proofs of
Which
like a
question?
round Earth, but I already told
What's
you
the
about
third question?
the moon thing. The second one was about the moon and the sun always being the same size, if there was any explanation. But I guess that's the same line of thinking, right? That it's like you don't
Why
really
would
care
it
about
be
it. That's fine.
why would it be a different size? What makes you think it has to be a different size?
Well, that's why I'm asking the question, because intuitively to me it would make sense that if something was moving closer and further away, that it would change in size. And I'm wondering if there's anything in the flat Earth that would posit any sort of reason for that. And if there is no reason, that's also fine. I'm just wondering if there is one. That's
A
it.
reason for what exactly? What is your question exactly?
So the moon and the sun seem to always be the same size.
Are
Roughly,
you
at
saying
least.
this is as a question, or are you saying this is your observation?
That seems to be what I observe, that it's the same size in the sky.
And you're thinking
So
in
I'm
your
wondering
mind,
if
how is that possible if the sun is a million Earth size, like, right? Is that
I'm
what you're
wondering how
thinking?
that's possible if it's supposedly on the flat Earth model. So assuming the Earth is flat, I would
Okay.
expect it to change size, but it doesn't. So I'm wondering
Why? Why would you assume that it? How would that affect the size of the moon and the sun at all?
Well,
But for
I
him
mean,
to
angular size. Like
listen,
it
for
looks.
him to assume that, he has to assume that we are sitting in space with a moon floating over us, and that's not how it goes. So for some reason, you got this backwards way of thinking that whatever's in the sky, I should be able to just assume that because it's a ball, that's what we see. But if it's flat, it should do this. How about the fact that it's flat and what you're seeing is what you get?
Well, I'm curious
You
if
have
there
not
is
addressed the fact that
any.
there's no curve to be found anywhere. You said, I don't want to touch that. I can't think about that kind of stuff. So you don't want to address the fact that it's flat. You just want to talk about things in the sky
Check
that
it
you
out.
assume to be on a globe.
I am. I can
Petrie, I'm
only
gonna
talk
ask
about
you.
one thing at a time, and right
I'm gonna
now I'm
the
interested
sun and the
in this
moon.
one thing. And
Okay.
if there isn't an answer for it, that's fine. But that is
check
what
it
I'm
out, you
asking the
guys.
question about. If every question is just answered with like, look at the ground, then it's like it's not a terribly interesting
Hold on, Petrie.
conversation.
Hold on. Why is this important to you? This is what you've observed, right? And it really sparks something in your mind. You're like, why the fuck do they appear to be the same size, right?
Well, I'm
The
not.
sun and moon?
I
That
don't, I
was
don't
your
think I'm
question?
that. I don't think it's that interesting of a question to me. But I'm interested
I thought you just
if
said you were
there.
interested in that because that's your
I'm interested
observation.
in if there's a flat Earth reason for it.
Oh, you just
because
want to know why flat earthers believe that or not believe that, right? It's not
I
about
want to
what
see if
you
there's a
think.
flat Earth. Because again, as I said, I've seen flat Earth debates, and there's some questions that I've watched these, and inside me, I'm like, I want to ask the flat earther this question because it doesn't seem like
So,
that.
did you just lie right now and say that it's actually a question that I had? It was your observation. That's what you just said, that I had a question. I appear to observe that the sun and the moon are the same size, and I'm confused about that, right? That's what you're saying?
Well, I'm not confused about it because I
You know?
understand. I believe the globe Earth model, whatever, blah blah.
You
blah, blah, blah.
believe.
Yeah, sure.
Like a
But I'm not.
religion.
I mean, you believe in a lot of things in a non-religious way, right? I believe that I won't fall through my chair. That's not religious.
No, but to have faith in stories from people who appear to be like priests, like Neil deGrasse Tyson, Brian Cox, fucking what's his name, Bill Nye, all these people, they're there giving you your scriptures, your faith for the entire world to accept. All this shit on TV, people just blindly believe all of it. That's a religious, faith-based system. The heliocentric model is literally a fucking religion, man. You don't to have God to have anything to do with religion, man. Religion, literally, it can be describing multiple things.
You can play video games religiously, right? You've seen it.
Can I focus in on the thing you mentioned earlier?
Go ahead.
Like I said, this is just like a minor gripe that I have with flat Earth, like the sort of line of argumentation that is a little bit frustrating. Is the I guess it's kind of a twisting of words where so I said that I believe the Earth is round, and you like immediately said you believe, as if like it's like like believing in something means that it is therefore not real, which seems like it's not quite
you're
the case.
assuming a
Right?
lot of things, but
well, that's like the implication of how you said it, right?
You looked up the definition of belief.
Like you said you believe, and the implication there, right, is that when you say you believe, you're implying that I'm saying that I don't know it. But
yes, that's exactly
really, that's
what I'm saying.
That's not really what someone means. That's not really what I'm meaning, right? It's that is what I think. That's
Do you
what
believe
that is.
you won't fall through your chair?
Yeah.
I believe I won't. No, you won't fall through your chair?
Yeah, I'd say that too. I'd say I also know the Earth is round, but I feel like
okay. Oh, pause. You know the Earth is round.
I was just about to say I'd specifically not say that because I don't want to go into that. Like,
well, this is very important because you know that the Earth is round. You know that it's globular. You know that it's a globe, right? Spake asked you very earnestly in the beginning, what are your 3 biggest reasons for knowing why you're on a globular Earth? It's a
ask for one. Ask just for one.
Just one. Just give us one. Like why you
gave me
know you're on Earth and this Earth is round. Like one thing.
I don't know. It's like why I know the Earth is round. I don't know. It's
How do
like
you know?
when you ask the questions this way, it makes it very weird to answer.
It's hard to answer because it's fucking straightforward, right? It's weird, right?
But I also wouldn't say that. But it's the same way I would if you're if I have to bring my level of knowing something to the point where I know that the Earth isn't, or I don't know the Earth is round, I'd also say I don't know the Earth is flat. But I think I'm more confident in the Earth being round than I am in being flat. If you want me to word it that way, that's fine.
And that's fine. You know what our question is? Why? Give us one goddamn reason why. That's not so hard, man.
Well, there just seems to be like a big, body of evidence that is like, I guess, coherent in that like each individual thing seems to make sense, and they are cohesive in they sort of match together in
It's a great story,
satisfying
right?
way.
It's fucking fits together. It's a perfect story. Yeah, I get it.
Well, yeah, a description of reality would fit together as a perfect story, right?
Take a look at the two memes I just posted in lobby
Those-
and tell me if that seems to sound like the heliocentric model to you. Well, the religion one. And then I posted belief because we seem to have some discrepancy what belief, the definition of belief is.
Well, you know, there's
So it's
probably
the
multiple
acceptance of-
definitions of words, and there's
No,
like,
but-
you know, within
no, but
context, words can mean different
for belief,
things.
we don't need belief to say, like, you can't say you believe in flat earth. Like, I don't need belief to accept that the earth's not moving in reality because it's the same for everyone and no one's ever seen curvature. That doesn't require any kind of belief. That's a categorical fact that no one's experienced motion ever, apart from fucking earthquakes, obviously, and no one's ever seen curvature, especially over vast bodies of water. It's blindingly fucking flat. So you need to believe that it's actually curved and you don't see it.
Yeah,
I mean, well, if I wanted to be super pedantic, you know, I don't really care if
That's
we
a
go
big
down the
word.
line of argumentation. But if I wanted to be super pedantic, you saying it's a fact that no one's seen
able
the
to
curvature of the
prove-
Earth, and you
Yes.
saying that it's a fact that that no one's
No one's been able
experienced,
to
you know,
prove
the
Earth was moving, right?
No,
Yeah.
no. Sorry,
sorry.
can I finish my point?
Sorry.
So you said that it's a fact that no one's seen the curvature of the Earth, and a fact that no one has experienced the the Earth moving. Was that it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm saying that if I could say that
Well, you
with
saying
those
that-
two facts, that's still not necessarily proof that the Earth is flat. That's just that no one has
That's not the
experienced
question.
it.
That's not
Bro,
what we're
the-
saying, man. We're
the
saying
point is,
you know.
bro,
Go ahead, Spade.
Well, no, bro, the point is no one's seen curve, no one's felt motion. So the go-to response from that is the Earth is flat and stationary. Like there is nothing else that can come from that.
Without
Like, we're
any
not saying
external
the Earth's a
evidence,
shape.
sure.
Yeah, but we're not saying the Earth is a shape by saying it's flat. And so we're not trying to say it's a
Well-
disc or a frisbee or a fucking whatever the fuck that gets posted
Maybe
in all
saying
these
that, like,
memes that
you
all
know,
over Facebook.
topologically, it's like average curvature is 0. Like if you squished all the
There's
mountains and
topography.
lifted up all the ravines, it would be flat instead of like a round, perfect sphere.
So you
Right.
think it's a
No,
perfect
there
sphere?
is, bro, there
no,
is
I'm
no
saying if you
curvature.
like smooth everything out, it would be, sure.
What does that
So
mean?
why do you need to smooth everything out? I mean, look at the bottom of the sea, the abyssal plain, I think it's called, and that's literally a shelf, a flat shelf that covers fucking from America to fucking the UK side of the continents. Like literally, it's a flat fucking bottom that they've checked it with sonar, fucking radar. Like they've already verified that it's there. So I mean that, and then the fact that water on its surface doesn't conform to the shapes like any shape at all. It doesn't. It always fills its container, and then it'll come find its equilibrium, and it'll lay level and flat. That's what water does, bro. How can 71% of the Earth's surface, so almost 3/4 of the Earth's surface,
Great point.
be flat or trying to be flat?
That was like 3 or 4 things.
No, really. The point is,
Well, there
no
was
curvature.
there was one thing about like the Earth and the radar thing. There was one about the
Are you
No,
listening?
water
sonar.
being level.
back
Like
to the
there was
same
like,
No, it was back in the same thing. There is
well,
no
yeah, but it was
curvature
multiple points
on the
about it.
surface. On the bottom of the water, like right at the very base of the fucking the sea floor, it's flat. The surface of the sea is flat. The surface of lakes are flat. The surface of your cup of tea is flat. Like water does the same at any level. If you've got like a tiny, tiny little amount of it, you'll get meniscus. You'll get like surface tension, so you might get some convexity on the surface. But a body of water will display no convexity, especially when it's at rest. It might show a little bit when it's moving, but it will always come to rest level.
That's why it's called sea
That
level.
that there was another question I thought of midway
So
through.
you're
that
going to
does
ignore
break.
what I just said.
You're
and
gonna
just
ignore
say,
what we just
let me
said, though.
finish. Let me finish the
Well,
sentence.
bro, you're
Let me
not.
finish,
You're not.
please.
You're
Let me
not actually
finish this.
replying to what
I
I've
promise
said. You're
it's
just
relevant.
jump-
I was gonna
Oh,
say.
come on.
Can I finish the sentence, please? Okay. So I was gonna say there was actually a question that is relevant to that. Yes, about the convexity of water.
I don't want you to
So-
ask a question, bro. I just want you to like fucking like specifically like answer what's getting said instead of jumping to another thing. That's what we've been
Well,
doing
it's
for the past.
it's specifically about like an experiment on the convexity of water. So would that
We're
suffice?
not doing experiments.
Because
Talking to
I'm
the right
right.
people who like experiments and scientific measurement and actually
Yeah.
trying to prove
So-
what you can prove. But
yeah.
yeah,
So
go ahead.
this is another thing that I was curious about, which is that the like flat Earth, the Netflix documentary thing. What does everyone think about that here?
It's a fucking joke.
What
It's a
kind of
hit piece
fucking
of news.
question is that, bro?
Because
Made
they
to
did
mock
that
flat
experiment
Earth.
on the like lake with the like light and the holes in the thing, right?
It's not an
Do
experiment
you
either,
hear
man. It's just
yourself,
an
Petrie?
observation.
Honestly, do you hear yourself?
I'm literally just asking about
Netflix
what flat Earth
documentary.
people think about a flat Earth documentary thing. I don't know
Yeah,
if
but
like
it's not a documentary.
Let's just
It's a
watch it now.
mockumentary. That was a mockumentary, bro. That
Okay.
was there to take the piss.
It was a hit
That was there
piece.
to make you, bro. That was
okay,
there
so
to make
that's
you think
that's
flat.
what I wanted to know
Bro, I
was
was in the
basically.
middle of a fucking sentence as well, bro.
Sorry.
So that fucking show was there basically to make flat earthers look fucking ridiculous.
Okay.
Just like the Flat Earth Society bullshit. Like, you're not even listening, bro. You just said okay because you're just waiting to talk. That means you're not
Right.
giving a fuck
It's-
what's getting said
Well,
to you.
no, it's
So we're
because I
wasting
get
our
the point you're
fucking time.
making, and
You're
I
still
don't.
talking when I'm
Just-
talking, bro.
You're not letting him finish, Petrie.
Okay.
So that means you're not interested in anything we've got to say. So we are wasting our fucking time, man.
That's kind of like a actual waste of time if we continuously give you things to digest and go, okay, I'll look into that. Not
But-
even that. Not even
I-
acknowledging that. You're just literally waiting to say the next thing, not even taking into
Okay,
consideration what
can-
the hell we've
sorry.
been talking about.
Can I explain my line of thinking there then? Sorry.
We
for,
know your
for-
line of
We know it.
thinking, bro.
We know it. I was
We already
explaining
know
it
it.
earlier. We've seen a million of you.
No,
The problem you've got is you're not responding to direct questions. Bake's making a really good point about water, and you specifically took the topic onto water in the micro. So I think we should finish that convo first before you ask about another Netflix documentary that actually, if you did any research into that documentary, you'll see that both the Globers and the Flat Earthers at the end of that test agreed that it wasn't a proper experiment, and that they couldn't conclude whether there was this was just a null.
But-
It was a null experiment.
But yeah, Big
Okay,
Root. Let's go back to exactly what Bake was
Can I
saying.
respond to that?
Hold on, wait. You said water on a micro level. You're talking about trying to measure the convexity of water, right? You were trying to bring up some experiment like that.
Can I respond
Spake
to what Big Root said?
Spake brought up a great point about how much water is on the Earth's surface, right? Can you agree that it's more than 70%?
Okay, can I respond to what Big Root said, or are we just going away from that?
No,
First
can
off?
you
All
just
right,
answer
all right.
that question? All right,
Let him
go ahead,
respond
Big
how he
Root.
sees fit.
Yeah,
Go
because
ahead.
Big Root said something, and then you immediately took off on a separate thing, and so I just want to. I've
Bro,
now
we're
forgotten
wasting
what you even
time,
said.
man. Bro, you don't give a fuck what anybody's saying.
What? I
You're
mean,
not
if you
interested,
guys don't want to
experience
talk,
for-
I don't
then
know.
I can
I don't know
go.
if you're
but-
just recording this. I don't know if you're like recording this.
No,
like,
I'm not. I don't know how to even record
It
shit
would be
in
quite shit.
Discord.
Like, 'cause if you are recording it, it would be quite shit. You've not done very well at all. Like to mock flat Earth.
Oh, I'm not here to mock. I'm here
No, but
to.
you're not here to listen. You're not here. You're definitely not here to learn. Like learn
That's
either
for sure.
about the globe or the
I-
flat Earth. Like you just want to
Okay,
reinforce
so-
whatever you already believe, and I was still fucking talking, bro. You're saying all right, so because you're not interested in what I'm saying, you're just waiting to talk.
It's it's quite
Why?
difficult to get
What's the
a
point?
point in because it seems
What do
like
you mean?
the-
People are talking to you and you're just
Okay, so
ignoring what they're
a simple
saying.
example was I was struggling to respond to Big Root because another point was being made, and it seems like that happens quite a lot. It's like quite
Yeah,
difficult
man,
to
because
like a statement is made, and I'm like, oh, I have a thing to say to that statement.
You're
but then
right.
another statement is made.
It's all our fault.
then-
Big Root, batter up.
I mean, we could. So
What did you want to
Um,
ask Big Root? Go for it.
I forgot what we said now. Sorry.
Oh boy,
Do you
is,
remember-
it,
do
is
you
that
remember what
because you're
you
not
said?
listening, bro? Is that why?
No, it's
Maybe you
because
forgot?
You started talking, and then we had a whole conversation about me wanting to talk, respond to a thing, and by
Oh,
that time that
you
happens.
had that conversation. We're
I'm
asking
having
you a simple
I have a bad
question.
memory.
Oh yeah, seems like it. Go ahead, Big.
Let me make the statement again. All I said was
Please, thank you.
because you're not answering the questions, you're getting a little bit of a defensive response from us because we get a lot of people like you who are here to try and mock the flat Earth. So we're just responding to the kind of responses that you're
Okay.
giving us. My main point was that we were originally talking about water. Spake made a really good point that you didn't respond to, and then you asked about the Netflix documentary.
Well, that was because it was in relation to the water thing. Because because it would have been, what do you think of the documentary? And if you thought it was in some ways legitimate, I would then go on to the points made in that as an example. If it wasn't, we could just go back. That was it.
Let's go
I
back.
wasn't looking to mock or anything. I just wanted to see if this piece of evidence was deemed in any way valid.
Bro, at the end of the day,
And
you've not provided a
And
single shred of evidence to us. You've not gave us one single thing. You've not listened to any of the points that we've made. You've not responded in any sort of like coherent manner. Like, oh, I get what you're saying there. What about this? You've not posed anything in rebuttal to what we're saying. It's just like, right. You're just getting ready to say something else completely
yeah,
irrelevant.
I'm
To some dance.
to be clear, I'm not really
that's a good
here
one.
as I said
Okay.
multiple
To
times, I'm here to
learn.
ask questions specifically about flat Earth stuff. I'm not
Well, how
really
can we
great.
here
answer your
to
questions
defend
if
the
we can't
globe.
clarify? We need to clarify a common ground to answer your questions. Do you understand this?
Yeah, there's got to be some sort of common ground.
Okay, so from now on, these guys are going to ask you questions to get a common ground. That's how it's going to be.
I guess it seemed like it was meandering quite a lot, but yeah, we can
Man.
We
sort of
can
get a
speculate about everything else. Can you just answer the question that Spake asked?
yeah. What was that?
Let's go back to the OG question. Let's go back. And then
Spake, make your point about water again.
yes, please, Spake. Yes.
I'm not really sure which
And,
point it
and
was. Like,
Hey, it's not just me forgetting now.
it was a general
well,
point on the nature of water,
Uh,
but I really want
just the
Petrie.
fact that
I really
from a
before you do Spake, Petrie, I really want you to think to yourself, think it through in your own mind, use your own thinking here, and just use logic. Don't think of any arguments you might have heard from elsewhere. Just work it through logically with us. Sorry, Spake, go ahead.
I mean, I can only really say what I basically say to everyone about water, but it goes from the smallest little amount of water, like in your cup of tea, apart from obviously like in maybe like a what do you call it, like a test tube or something. You'll get meniscus, you'll get the water tension will display convexity on the top of like a really small amount of water. But once it gets into like beyond a cup size, literally a body of water will always be trying to seek equilibrium. And if you think about the oceans in general, it is literally just one vast amount of water when it's all connected. And water at any scale, as I just said, is always trying to find its equilibrium. So how can almost 3/4 of the Earth's surface be trying to find level and lay flat if we are in fact this supposed sphere? Like literally water level, sea level, like these, like even the word horizon. I mean, it's horizontal. No matter how high you go, the horizon's horizontal, and it literally every time
yeah,
you raise an elevation, you see that little bit
yeah.
further. So if that's the case, and you keep going up and you keep seeing further, then obviously that points towards the Earth being flat. If it was actually a ball, the horizon would be a place where the Earth dropped down and away from us. So you're not going to see further round the curvature of the Earth by gaining elevation. In fact, when you raise an elevation, you're going to have to keep looking down at the horizon. But that's not what
Uh,
we see. I know that's kind of went off the water point, but
yeah.
it's, it's another
I
stonker that
Yeah,
destroys the
you
yeah.
did a
boat.
little bit.
I get the initial part. Well, I got the other parts, but the
So
first half of
water,
that is what I will respond to. Is what I mean.
well,
Um,
water does not conform to the exterior of a moving shape.
okay, so yeah, it seemed if I could like reword
Go
your
ahead.
question just to
Go
like
ahead and
make
respond to
sure
that first part. Yeah.
that I fully got the question. So you're saying that water we observe it. You're saying we observe water to be flat when it's not, in motion, whatever.
It seeks equilibrium.
Well,
Always
is that
seeks
what you
level.
see?
Like
Do you
this
not agree that is the
kind of an
case?
idea.
I'm
Giant, if you will.
Wait, just answer that question. It's very.
It's like, well, we
Do you agree that
sorry,
water
I'm
seeks
trying to
level?
finish my explanation. I'm getting interrupted
because it's
with more
inconvenient.
questions.
Like this. Say we
I
had
wanna
a
in-
Mendelssohn Morley experiment.
I'm just
And
trying
then
to
people say,
think
that's
through
not a scientific experiment.
basically
So that's just a parlor trick.
restate your question
Like,
just
well,
to
okay,
make
maybe
sure
it's
that
not a
I'm
scientific
getting all the
experiment, but it's like
points
a very
correct.
precise measurement. And we
So
can
you're
take the
saying
data
that-
and figure out what's going on.
So Spake's question is that we observe water to be essentially flat, and it doesn't make sense that if the Earth is covered in 70%-ish water, that amount of flat surface would not work on a ball, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Take a moment for that one, by the way, for real.
I mean, I understand the question that, like, you can't, it doesn't stick because it's like flat. And I guess the proof would be for, whether it would be about whether the Earth, whether water on a large scale conforms to a curve, right? That would be that would be like the answer for how that would work, because in the globe model it would just be water isn't flat.
So
It
on a
conforms
large
to a
scale,
curve, right?
on a large scale, it becomes a ball, and on a meniscus scale, it gets convex. But in between those two, it's flat. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it would be technically curved even on a small scale, but just a really, really small amount, right?
So we already measured it and found out it's not. What do you got to say about it?
I mean, if that's true, then the Earth is flat, but
It is true.
water's flat.
It is very true.
Water,
Well, then the Earth's
water-
flat, but like, could you provide the stuff?
70%
Is
of the
obviously
Earth is water,
we can
bro.
logical
provide
next
all
step would
kinds
be
of
that.
links right now. These guys, I have to go to a meeting. These guys are going to provide you with all kinds of proof of this measurement over water being flat.
Yeah, thank you. Later, Febby. Nice meeting you, brother. By the way, Petrie, I'm just as new as you. Let me just put that out there. And, it's not. I've never been in the server, but the line of questioning that we're directing towards you, it may at first seem aggressive and trying to put you into a corner, but it's not trying to put you into the corner. It's trying to put what your claims in like whatever you're claiming, we're trying to put that into the corner. Take that claim, really analyze it, and once we do that, you keep popping to another subject without first getting to the bottom of the first claim. Do you understand what our frustration?
You say that, but also my very first question about the moon, your response ended with like the global conspiracy to keep that also, to me at least, seems like a massive jump, especially when it goes to like COVID and stuff like that. That seems like very not answering questions about flat Earth.
Do you know why that was on a tangent?
Well, I understand why, but also I think that's
on
on a similar. It's like a similar
No.
thing where it kind of like
No. It was an appeal to authority. That's why we brought that up, because you literally said you would trust anything that was told to you as long as it was someone that had the right credentials. Correct? That's what you said?
Yeah, I guess. I guess. Sure.
Okay. That's why I brought that up, because it's trying to highlight the fact that sometimes, even with the right credentials that people claim to have or may have, they might be financially incentivized to do the wrong thing because it's in their best financial interest rather than in the interest of whatever service or industry that they are supposed to be performing, like especially for the public, like a doctor.
To bring it back from that, is I would. I mean, it's basically about trusting, not necessarily in like an individual, but it's like, 'cause I mentioned before that it was like a body of evidence, right? It's not
Who made this body of evidence? People, right?
yeah,
Humans, right?
humans did.
Are humans
Me,
corruptible?
yeah.
Right. So if that's the case, then why are you putting this body of evidence, quote unquote, over the fact that sometimes people lie for different reasons?
It's basically a matter of like, well, I mean, you could, you know, if I wanted to bring it out onto a much larger scale, is that society doesn't really work if we don't trust each other. Right? You have to trust someone. You can't know everything. You can't have to verify everything. So at some point, you need to put
But
your
you
trust in some
seem
sort of third party.
you seem that well, you just said you can't verify everything, you can't trust everything, right? You just now said that, right?
Yep. Well,
Okay.
no, sorry, you have to trust some things. You can't
You
verify everything.
you have to trust some things, you can't verify everything. Okay.
Yep.
That's true. Trust some things. What are some things that you can trust? Let's just number one. What
Well,
do you think you
there's
can trust?
the basic things of you know, first-hand patterns and things that I experience that I've built up that I can build assumptions off of, that has, you know,
Anecdotally,
like
right? Your own personal
if I
experience.
pull down on a door handle, I'll expect the door to open. I expect my car to start and drive. So that's like the base level,
Okay.
right?
You walk
And then
outside and you're not going to be flung around by
yeah,
the earth
sure.
spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. It's not moving.
Sure. Well, come on.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, it's like
Look, I'm
that's something you can
trying to build
observe.
up a thing, and you're like throwing in like alternate. Like, I'm not right now. I don't want to go into that argument. I want to continue.
What? You think that's even an argument, bro? Like we're not
Okay.
saying
Do you
these
see?
things to
Like,
argue
I
the
want to
point, bro. You're
continue
telling the middle of a fucking sentence.
You gotta let
because
it
it's
finish.
like interrupting my entire point. Like halfway through
What do
me
you mean, bro?
explaining.
Everybody's allowed to speak, bro. Like, if somebody says something, and somebody gets to say something, and then if you try and speak when you realise someone else is speaking, you give way. And if everybody gives way every now and again, or every second time, or whatever the fuck, then you don't even need moderators. Like, literally, if everybody would just be polite and give way when they realise somebody's speaking, then it would be a perfect conversation.
Yeah, and so what I'm saying is, I was midway through.
I mean, look at this
Like,
fucking talking. Fuck's sake. You're saying so you were saying. Like, I've just pointed out that you were fucking talking over me, and then we say, right, well, this is how the conversation goes, because for some reason you need to explain to you how a conversation goes. Then you're like, right, well, I was saying this. It was fucking me that was talking, so it was me that was meant to speak there. But carry on, bro.
so
Fuck's
going
sake,
back,
man.
so I was
No, you're not even
explaining.
interested.
So I was asked
You
about.
just want to speak.
I was asked about
No, man.
why I trust anything.
Yeah. Good
Like
question.
what levels of trust I have. I got through the first level of trust, and then Beasticles said something about you know, the Earth's spin, and then I said I don't want to go down that line of argumentation, and
Sure.
then
Okay, what else do you trust?
continued to try and push down that
Great,
line of
great. Let's
argumentation.
move on.
I don't want
Let's
to do
move
that
on.
right now. I want to continue my point.
All right, continue. Let's move on.
Okay,
What do you
good.
trust? Go ahead. There you go. Go ahead.
So, as I said, there was sort of, I don't know what the formal term is for it, but, you know, this base level, you know, stuff that I interact with, that I can build up a first-hand experience of. But anything past that, I have to rely on some sort of external source of knowledge.
That's correct.
So
As
I
we
can
all
trust.
do.
So I trust that my phone, I can unlock it, I can use it, blah 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 blah. I can't trust any individual part within the phone, really. I don't know how it works in there. I have to trust that some scientist has, or some, you know, engineer, whatever, electronical engineer has has, like, you know, made these things and knows how these things work, and I trust that he knows how these things work.
Okay.
And
Okay. That's not. I know what you're saying, and we all understand that base level argument of like, yes, there's some things that we have to just take for granted and trust in order to exist in an objective reality. Otherwise, everyone's fucking schizophrenic and thinks the sun is talking to them. Yes, I get that. We all get that. That's
Yeah.
not the question. The question is, you said you have to trust some things. And my question was, what do you have to like? What are those things that you said you have to trust? That's the question. First, you said you have to trust the fact that you can grab a door handle. Oh,
Yeah, the first-hand things, and then basically everything that isn't there, I have to sort of delegate the knowledge of that onto some external thing. Like I can't verify that. I just can't verify everything. Yeah, I don't know. I'm bad at explaining this, but
Let me help you out here a little bit. So, what you can trust is a method that you can build to create, to test either claims or observations, and you can have it wide and broad because we have a legal system that deals with claims from a legal standpoint, and we have a scientific method that deals with claims or a hypothesis within the natural world. So we clearly have, human beings clearly have the ability to develop a method to not know everything about the world, but in isolation be able to test certain elements of the world or of an argument or of a belief system.
yeah.
And if we
So
follow
sorry,
these...
just to make sure I'm following, could I sort of essentially restate that in my own words?
Sure.
Is that okay? Okay. So you're saying that so as a body of science, essentially there's like while each individual, person within science, the body of science, whatever, doesn't necessarily know everything, they can take the work that has already been done from, essentially build up upon the existing body, basically making assumptions based on existing evidence, and then doing additional stuff on that in order to build evidence for new things.
Evidence for the globe.
Hmm?
Evidence for the globe are you talking about?
Well, evidence for anything, right? So you have
No,
well, this
it's
is
not
a
an
flat
evidence for the globe.
Earth server, right? So the debate is, how do you know that you're on a globe? Let's just go back to the simple evidence of how do you know that you're on a globe? Like, let's just keep it simple at this point.
Well, on the big scale, it would be that there is.
I like how you have to click and look up things, but like, how
Sorry,
do
no. This
you
is
know?
just like some. I'm literally just highlighting a bit of text over and over. I'm not actually doing anything.
Well, how do you
Hey,
know?
there's nothing wrong with that.
I've done that too. Yeah, this is not an easy pill to swallow because it's a real pill, man. Like, and what Big Root was saying earlier, way earlier, about how you have to come to grips with the fact that what we might be in agreement on could be actually true, and if that's the case, you have to understand the consequences of that. Like, if it is actually true, how would that affect your life? That means pretty much everything you've been told or read about is actually false and is probably misguided on purpose in order to serve someone else's agenda that's other than your own. It's not in your best interest that you know this information. It's in their best interest. Their meaning the people that run the world, essentially, and all different types of industries. It's in their best interest that you be kept in the dark about what's really going on. And flat Earth is probably the biggest lie of all because it seems like it's so minuscule, but it's so important because it takes into consideration how many different avenues of society that are actually keeping this lie going then. And the question is, why? Like, if you haven't asked that question of like, why the fuck would they actually be lying about it? Like, why, what would be the purpose of it? And you haven't really
we
taken
can't.
into that. But have you
Yeah.
taken that into consideration? Like, what
Well,
would
bro,
be the purpose?
What would be the
bro, I
purpose
always
of
like
like
to say,
the
why would they
world
tell the truth?
governments like lying?
But
Hold on,
why
wait.
would they tell the fucking truth, though, man?
Oh,
Like,
sorry, I can hear you.
rather than asking why would they lie, why not ask yourself, why would they be telling the truth? They lie about fucking everything, man. Why would they be telling the truth about this?
Well, Spake, remember what he said? He trusts everything that is being told to him on TV.
I don't think I said that,
But
but
that two aluminium planes destroyed like 8 buildings in one day.
well, I don't have the knowledge to refute that. So
Petrie, let's
Well,
go
but
back to this method.
7 or 8 buildings got taken down that day.
Sorry, Big
Building
Root.
7 collapsed live on TV, fell into its own footprint. Each side, from side to side, collapsed. Pancake theory,
Hold on,
like what
Spake.
they say. But
Hold
all
on,
it was
Spake. He's
fucking,
not gonna
it was
digest
only,
that. He's not
I
gonna
mean,
digest
I
that
was
right now.
fucking
yeah,
almost finished the
I
fucking
don't
sentence, bro.
have the
I was almost
knowledge
finished
or
the fucking sentence, boys. At least let me finish when I'm trying to fucking
okay.
finish. Fuck's sake, boys. I've got flat earthers talking over me, man.
I'm sorry, brother.
Jesus. All I was saying was, like, the point is that the flat earth 9/11 got brought up and vaccines and all that shit got brought up because these motherfuckers, it's blatant as fuck. And that's 100% concrete evidence that these motherfuckers are lying. And they're going to go to the extent of murdering thousands of people in a day, fucking terrorizing millions of people, billions of people over the world with the news reports, then invading fucking multiple countries and exterminating fucking men, women, and children. Like, if they're gonna go and do that, it's not such a big leap to be bullshitting about the earth, man.
That's his point. It's like if they're willing to lie about the murder and destruction of millions of people's lives and livelihoods, why wouldn't they just lie about the shape of the earth? It's so easy compared to that.
I mean,
That's what he's
I'd
saying.
probably say that is actually quite a big jump, honestly, because the 9/11 stuff at least is only like 3 or 4 organizations within the US government, whereas it's flat Earth is like every government everywhere.
Well,
Well,
exactly. Wait,
well,
exactly, bro. That's the
but not even
implication.
flat earth, bro. Just the fucking fact that look at space. Like, do you seriously, like, have you not done any research into NASA whatsoever? And have you never seen the wires, the harnesses, the green screen, the bubbles, and when they're doing spacewalks, all the hairspray on the fucking women, them getting caught in the wires? Like, this happens with all the space agencies. China's fucking space agency looks like fucking like children made it, man. Literally, it's fucking ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
Like, so, like, any research
it's-
into NASA with an objective fucking, like, thought in your mind with some critical observation, like, you don't even need to be intelligent to realize these motherfuckers are lying. Like, look at fucking, I mean, do you seriously believe they went to the moon
Yeah.
in the 60s? Do you
The
believe
thing
that?
about
Yep.
Bro, do
that's
you
the thing
believe that?
about this though.
Well,
And
yeah.
Yeah,
there
Are
yeah.
you surprised? I believe it. Given
What?
everything
You
I've said
believe?
already, you sound like you're surprised, but I don't know why you'd
What,
be
me?
surprised.
I'm
No,
actually
I'm asking,
not
bro, I'm asking you, do you
surprised.
think we went to the moon in the 60s?
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
He
Well,
does.
man,
He does. Yeah.
look at the technology for starters. The fact that NASA admit themselves that they can't go past low Earth orbit. Like, there's a video of one of the astronauts saying, in the future, we're hoping to design the technology to be able to go beyond low Earth orbit. So they admit they can't go beyond low Earth orbit, but they say they went to the moon 6 or 7 times, was it?
Mm.
In the 60s, with
Yeah.
60s technology in an aluminium tin can through the Van Allen radiation belts twice, 250,000 miles there, with 60s technology, bro, landed on a spinning rock, and they took off from a spinning rock. Then they went, played golf, drove about in their little fucking buggy, jumped back in their fucking aluminium tin can, blasted off, and flew back through the Van Allen radiation belts and landed on a spinning ball.
So going back to what you said about
So
the
no
technology.
comment on what I said. You're just going to completely go to something fucking
I'm
different.
going to go to the
Yeah,
first point you made in that thing. Please don't You're literally interrupting me because I didn't interrupt you, and you went on a long. You talked about a lot of stuff.
fucking interrupting me constantly.
Can I
You
finish my
talking
sentence?
over everybody, bro. No, I've done it to you because you've been doing it constantly, but
Okay, can I do it now? Can I talk
Let's
now?
get back on track.
I don't know.
Okay, so when I said going back to what you said, I meant in the beginning, like the first point you made in that long, like what you talked about. You talked about the technology thing.
Long what you talked about because you've not listened to half of it, bro. You've maybe caught a
Yeah,
fucking.
you said like there's not the technology that you
Oh,
know
you
for some reason
realise
after.
the technology that's in one of the shitty little Nokia phones that had Snake on it, like the fucking the
Can I please?
like computing power that they had in the 60s. Literally, for like 10 megs, you need like a trolley. It's like a big fucking unit. It's like dragging a wardrobe on wheels for like the fucking memory of fucking a tenth of a fucking shitty Nokia. Like, but they travelled 250,000 miles and landed on a spinning ball.
Okay, so can I finish the statement,
dunno.
please?
Well, make your point. Make your point quickly. Come on.
So you talked about the technology thing, like saying that. Would you say it was after the moon landings? They said that there's not the technology for it, or
I never even
They
said that,
destroyed
but
the
that's
tech.
what they claim nowadays. They say they've not got the technology to go
Okay.
back to the moon. But they can go to
Okay,
Mars, and they could send a remote control car on Mars. Like, they could do that, but they can't go back to the moon because they've lost the technology.
Okay,
Yes,
And
sorry.
plus,
That was
when
a
they lost
yes
the
or no.
technology, they lost all the telemetry data.
I want to
Spake.
finish a
I
point.
fucking let me just say something. Spake, I fucking
Mm.
love that you know all this shit. Like for real. I really do. I don't think he's done nearly enough research into this subject at all to actually ask
literally why I'm
subjects.
here.
That's why you're here, right? So again, back all the way back to what Big Root was saying about you need to come to terms with the fact that governments and authority figures, whether it's in science or health or in any industry that could possibly be corrupted by either financial means or some other type of reasons why they would lie, you have to accept the fact that people lie. Do people lie? Do humans lie?
Yeah, can I talk about the technology thing?
Okay, all right.
Like
Are you
I get like
you
3 words into a thing, and then it's like some other
we try
thing
to
that
let
goes on,
but
and
then
then
you lose your track of thought you lose your track of mind because you don't know what point you actually want to make, bro. It's frustrating for
can
us.
I have another try at it?
Go
Go
for
ahead.
it.
I don't know.
Okay.
Can you?
So the technology thing, you were saying something about there not being. So you said it wasn't about
The
them
amount
saying
of
there's not the
RAM.
technology for low Earth orbit, or there's only the technology for low Earth orbit.
No. They says they lost the technology for low Earth orbit, supposedly, and they lost all the telemetry data for the first travel to another body in the solar system, but they fucking lost it. So they lost all that shit. But
Okay.
what I'm saying is the amount of RAM that they had back then, they show you it. They feel like if you look at some of the old footage when they're dragging these big computers in, and it's literally like a big fucking wardrobe. I don't know what you call it, like in the States, but a
Oh yeah, like
wardrobe's
old computers are big.
yeah. And they drag it in on wheels, and it's like fucking 8 meg or something, man. Like, but they travelled fucking all the way with a fucking like a buggy and fucking golf clubs. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? They're meant to be going to the moon. They're going to take a set of fucking golf clubs. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So
What's your question, bro?
what I specifically wanted to ask about the lost technology thing
No,
is
no
Okay.
comment.
I can't respond to literally
What's your
everything
question,
because
bro?
halfway through a point you respond with a new thing. I can't respond to things if you interrupt my responses with more questions.
Fuck
Just keep
responses.
going.
What's
I
your
never asked a
question?
question.
So what I wanted to ask, my response to what you said about the technology thing is, I'll admit I haven't seen that quote directly, but I would be happy
Which
to
one?
look at it if you provided it. But
Which one?
Okay.
from what
I got it. I got you. I
The
got
one
you
that
right
Um,
here.
lost, the one that says they
the
lost the technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's easy to
doesn't
find.
it mean lost as in like
Lost. They're lost.
it was like bespoke and now it's non-functional? Or does it mean like we
No,
don't
it's
know how to
lost.
do it
Read
anymore?
it.
We don't know where it is. The telemetry data, it was all held on magnetic spools because back then it was like tapes, basically, like the magnetic rolls and rolls and rolls. There was supposedly, I saw one documentary saying there was 3 rooms full of these magnetic spools, and they've lost them. They don't know where they are, don't know where they could be, not got a fucking clue, not one single magnetic reel's left, none of the telemetry data, nothing that proves they went to the moon. It's all gone. Literally lost. No like lost as in it's not working anymore. They fucking lost it, mate. How can you lose 3 rooms worth of
Okay.
stuff?
Here you go,
I
brother.
mean, to be fair, I
Petrie,
wouldn't be
I
too
gave
surprised. I
you
don't
a
know,
link.
but
I gave you a link to a video. It's a flat Earth film called Level by Eric Dubay. I want you to skip to 17 minutes in and 35 seconds. Okay, and it shows the exact clip of what's his name, Don
Pettit.
Pettit.
Pet
Okay,
it. The pet it. Don't the
yeah,
pet it.
Don
Yep.
Pettit. All right.
Yep.
Now let's all take a pause for a second, and I want you to actually listen to what Don Pettit says.
Okay. How long is the clip?
It's
Batman?
like 10 seconds, 15 seconds.
Yeah, that's like CB's sessions. Who's playing it?
Okay, so they said they destroyed the technology
Uh huh.
and don't have it, and it'd be a pain to
That's why
rebuild it.
that's why they can't go back to the moon. But I'd go back there in a heartbeat. But we destroyed it. Why? Why the
You
fuck would
got
they
the
destroy it?
My guess is
you
that
got
they just didn't deem it useful anymore.
Well,
I
how
Going
don't
to
can
the
they
know.
not
moon?
make new technology? Bro, who cares about the old technology using valves and like all that shit that they used to use? What, are they not able to build new stuff? Better stuff?
Yeah, they are able
Like
to.
that? Oh, so why don't they?
Is there not plans to at the moment?
So,
I thought
like, we'll
Russia,
go to
like, well,
Mars.
quote unquote,
We'll go to
allegedly,
Mars
Russia
because
just crashed a probe into the probe into the moon.
Well,
But
bro, they'll go to Mars because they know Mars is too far away for anyone to see it. Like, there's not going to be any, like, avid photographers sitting there with their big fucking huge lens fucking cameras. Like, even the fucking cameras that's in the iPhones is like 50 megapixels, man. They're fucking, it's like unbelievable, like, just for standard cameras now. And these cameras on these mobile phones, they're actually fucking, they've got like fucking algorithms inside it that help show that these objects in the sky are spheres. It's literally there's animated stuff gets added to the pictures you're taking without your knowledge, mate. Unless you go and find out about it. Literally these fucking I don't know if it's algorithms. I don't know how they do it technically, but they had to admit it. It was like I don't know 6 months ago or something, and literally the cameras help make the sphericity more like
I
fucking more
honestly,
real.
I would not be at all surprised. But my explanation for it would just, well, my gut feeling is that it's just the companies want to. Like cameras have tons of post processing in them, right? You take a picture of someone's face, it will like, there's deep blurring things, anti red eye, all of that, and so they want every picture to look as good as possible. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they also made phones. If you take a picture of the moon, it will, use some sort of algorithm. It knows what the moon normally looks like, and so it will like put on bits of the moon that make it look better, and do that with other bodies as well. Which is like it's basically like an AI enhancement thing, right? I don't think that
I'd rather
is like
have
a
my
specific
picture.
like globe Earth conspiracy thing. That's just like a random. That's
Anyone
just a
else
company wanting to make
feel?
photos look good.
Anyone else feel like
Give
they
me
should
a
have stretched
summary of what the
before going
mission
through all these
goals are
mental
for your
gymnastics
time
that
on orbit
we've been
and
going
what
through?
responsibilities and
Oh,
jobs
Listen,
are
oh,
going to be
Petrie,
yours
shit.
while
Petrie,
you
you're
know,
up there.
your line
do
of
you know,
thinking
Well,
is fallacious,
I'm one
mate,
of the
because
science guys,
you're
and
saying,
I'm one
oh,
of the
yeah,
repair
maybe there was no
guys.
use for it
And
anymore. The
fortunately,
equivalence of what man supposedly achieved by going to the moon is as groundbreaking as someone creating the wheel, doing one trip, and then destroying the wheel before sharing this with the world because they have no use for it because they completed their trip.
Right.
It's ridiculous and fallacious, and you
It
don't
would be-
realize you're doing it. And I'll tell you why: because you still can't fathom any chance that the Earth could be flat, and that's your
That's the-
reasoning.
Yeah.
Oh, what's
all-
what's the what's the official reason for why it was destroyed anyway, or do they just not have a reason at all?
They don't have a reason.
There
Sometimes,
is no reason.
yeah, some people speculate that it's probably because of the Van Allen radiation belt, quote unquote, and that it fucked up the footage. That's why they had to fake the footage that was shown to the public because it was a big PR stunt in order to bankrupt the Soviet Union into the space race. But that's surface level shit. If you want to look at it in a deeper level, it's like, yeah, it's just a fucking lie in order to create a steady source of income that's funded by taxpayer revenue, which is called NASA, because NASA gets $52 million a day to lie to you.
No, it's
Probably
like
more
85
now, yeah.
million. No, man, it's like 85 million or some shit. And
Fucking crazy.
SpaceX is subsidized by the American taxpayer as well. So SpaceX is just another fucking puppet. They seem to think that SpaceX is some kind of private company. They're fucking owned by the taxpayer.
Right. It's all government subsidized.
So, sticking on the technology thing,
So we'll just avoid
Oh
that
my God,
SpaceX is
Jesus Christ.
I can't. I want to stick on a point for 2 seconds.
You know what,
man?
guys?
You can't help it.
Can we not stay on a point? Like I said,
you?
what is the reason
Can you
for
stay
the?
on a point? Fuck's
I'm
sake,
staying
man.
on
You
the
can,
point of the lost
bro,
technology
every
right
time
now.
I've made a point to you, you've jumped to something else for the past hour and a half.
Petrie, in all sincerity, even though we just met, it's if you really if you're actually curious about this information, then I suggest that you really listen to what we're trying to tell you, man. And it's really not fair to the hundreds of hours of prior research that I imagine all of us in here have already
Years.
done. Yeah.
Yes,
Fucking
years,
years.
mate.
Years and years of actual deep research and confirming sources and cross-referencing different things that different government agencies have said over the years, and basically calling them out when they have contradictions and following the lies. And there's it's not the fact that we're going down these rabbit holes because we want to. It's more about the fact that they create these rabbit holes. Yeah, you have to, because that's how hard they are trying to hide the truth from the public, because in reality they don't want you to know the truth, so that way they can own you. And they, meaning anybody that has authoritative power over you, bro. And the fact is, what Spake said earlier, the better question is, why would you think they're telling you the truth after all the evidence of them lying? That's the fucking big question, dude.
They lie about everything, man. Everything's a fucking lie. Everything's inverted. Anything, or these conspiracy theories in air quotes. Like, do you think flat Earth is a conspiracy theory?
I mean, not directly, but it seems to involve a lot of conspiracy. It seems like you're alleging there's a lot of conspiracy going on.
Oh, exactly right. So the point would be, do you not think it's the globe that's the conspiracy theory? That there's people conspiring to convince you that the Earth is a globe? We're not conspiring. We're just pointing out reality, having discussions, sharing information. We're not trying to convince anybody of anything. We're just picking holes in the globe story. So that would mean that the globe is the conspiracy theory, not flat Earth. Flat Earth's what you experience. That's reality for everyone, man.
There's going to be incentives for why you'd want to believe a flat Earth, but I mean,
really
it's not
we
the
don't
same.
believe flat Earth, bro. We don't believe that the Earth's stationary.
No
I don't need
incentives.
belief. There is
There's
no need
no
for
incentives.
belief. Right now, I'm not moving. The Earth is completely fucking stationary.
You guys
I
might
don't
not.
need to believe in this.
Hold on, wait. So you think that actually you're okay with the thought that maybe there is incentivized reasons why we would contribute to a flat Earth, quote unquote, lie? but you don't think that there's reasons for the
There you go.
government to fucking lie to you? Do you understand how preposterous that is?
I'm okay. I'm not alleging that any of you specifically have any
It's
sort
not
of
about
specific
personal. I'm not
incentives,
saying that.
but there could be incentives for people
Like
who
what?
believe in the flat Earth.
Like what?
Yeah.
Like
Well,
being
so for
like
example,
what? So
specific.
you, bro, do you think it's an incentive that we're ridiculed incessantly? We're told to kill ourselves. We're told we're retards on a daily basis in the server, bro. For years, I've woke up to kill yourself or gore or porn. Touch wood, it's not happened for fucking like, a good
Yeah,
couple of months
losing
now.
fucking
But
friends and family that are close
yeah,
to you
people
because
losing relationships, losing their wife, not speaking to their sons anymore, their mums fucking not talking to them. Like
like,
there
yeah,
is no
sign me
incentive
up,
in the
bro.
world.
Or I can make fucking $1 million a year for making fucking CGI videos about outer space that we've never been in. Like, why wouldn't I take the easier path? Like, fucking sign me up. Yeah, dude, I'll lie about fucking space for fucking 85 million a year a day, or 85 million a day. Like, of course you would lie. If you had that money offered to you, of course. Do you see any fucking big deals, business deals for or incentivizing flat earthers to come out and tell the truth about flat, or do you see a complete and utter annihilation of the even the conversation of it? They're so scared of actually having debates like this because there is no objectifiable evidence that they can stand on, bro. That's the thing.
Look at fucking Neil deGrasse Tyson, member Eric Dubé. They set up a debate. It was going to be on the Joe Rogan show, and fucking
Remember
MVP
that.
backed out.
Yep.
Okay, can my
Because he knows full well that he would have been fucking destroyed. Fucking
Right.
destroyed.
okay?
Go on,
And
go on,
Eric
Petrie.
Dubay's not even a debater, man.
Do you
It's
see
not
why I
like he's.
interrupt?
I've never
Anyway,
heard. Yeah, you're still talking over me as well, man.
you guys talked for like 5 minutes just now. I mean, it wasn't
Go on,
probably
go on,
not 5
go on.
minutes, but it's
What are
probably
you
like
talking
3
about?
minutes.
I just spoke after someone else. Someone
I
was
know,
speaking
but
before me.
my
So
point is there was like a 2 or 3 minute
I was
conversation
just.
following you asking a question
So are you
to
just
me.
gonna point out our
Look,
flaws
so-
and not actually listen?
I'll answer the question now.
So what are you
What
saying, bro?
question?
You're saying that because I
question
said
that
something
Spake
and
had-
someone else replied to it, that means that I'm not
Spake,
allowed
what
to
was your
talk
question,
until you
brother?
decide.
Well, it was more that
I never
Spake
asked.
said.
I never
Okay,
asked one.
so
I
Spake asked.
don't think he did. What did he
Well,
ask?
Spake asked, what
It's not
incentives
much
are
fun.
there for people to believe in the flat Earth, and then talked about a bunch of reasons for not in the flat Earth, and then Beasticles continued that.
Okay,
and
okay.
then-
Let's
yeah.
back
So
up.
I wanted to
What are the
ask that.
incentives?
So
What are the incentives for flat
you were
Earth?
the one that mentioned the incentives, not me, bro. All I said to you was,
Yeah.
I repeated the incentives back to you because I wanted to point out that it's ridiculous because we're fucking ridiculed. We lose family members. So I never spoke about incentives. You were the one that mentioned them. And I
Okay.
says, is this an incentive? To be ridiculed, to be disowned, to be fucking mocked? I've been in 4 separate fist fights, bro. And the last time, it was with 2 guys. One fucking sucker punched me right in the fucking left eyeball, and the next minute I was fighting the fucking 2 of them. Just because I took the ball away from them, and all I was doing was being polite, but they were the ones that wanted to try and show off to the audience and try and mock me, and that doesn't go in Scotland. That doesn't fly, eh? You don't do that to people in Scotland or you get knocked out, eh? And that's
Crazy.
what fucking happened, eh? Yeah.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure
So-
Beasticles brought up incentives firstly.
I did, but go ahead.
not me.
What would you think the incentive would be to lie about?
So an incentive would be like there's monetary incentives for flat Earth creators because
And
just
when?
like
Who makes money off
Where?
flat Earth, bro?
Please
the
point it
fuck, mate?
out. Please point it
Mate,
out
you
because I'll
could-
sign up, bro.
to be
Let's
fair,
go.
they are
You could,
demonetized.
bro, you
isn't
could
there
have
flat Earth like
40,
patrons or
50
something? I don't know.
Bro,
Did you
yeah,
just- wait,
mate, people
did you
get
just
a
say
few
they're
quid
like
here and
demonetized?
there.
Did you
Bro,
just say
people
they're
get a few
demonetized,
quid.
bro? Go ahead, speak. Sorry.
Aren't they demonetized?
I'm
on
just
YouTube?
saying, people get a few quid here and there. Like, what's it? Like there is a few like flat earthers that do get a few quid here and there, but they're not getting big fucking money. They're probably on minimum fucking wage, bro. Eh? They just don't have to work because they get a few quid. Somebody buys them a coffee here and there. But there's no people dropping like 10 grand and shit like that in their account every fucking week, mate. Eh?
Yeah,
And
There's
if
no
you've
money.
got a,
There's no
if you've
money
got a
in flat
YouTube channel, bro, you could have a YouTube channel with fucking 50,000 subs And at the end of the year, you're going to be making a fucking maybe $100 or a couple of $100. Fucking what's his name? Helio's first YouTube channel that had 3,000, like 3,200 fucking subs or something. And he said to me he got like a $16 check or so, it was something like really ridiculously low. He got for a whole fucking year, and that channel's had like 1 million views, over 1 million. It was like 1.4 million the last time I looked. And he got like a check for fucking like
There's
pennies.
no ad
Literally.
revenue, bro.
so-
Advertisers don't want to touch flat Earth
There is-
videos.
It doesn't
There
even
is-
cover his electric for running the fucking live stream constantly.
Go ahead, Petrie. Go ahead.
Okay.
Let's hear what you're saying.
There's also like just sort of like sense of community, right? You have like a group of people that all, you know, it's for lack of a better word, it can feel cool to like be like you know, it's edgy. It's like, oh, look, I'm cool. Everyone's against me. Like, let's all fight
Oh,
together
wow.
against
That
it.
is ridiculous, man.
No,
You're
that's
being
there's gonna be
an element
absolutely
of that.
ridiculous.
That's pretty
You
low,
are
bro.
being ridiculous.
I mean,
bro.
there's okay. Do you think that no one in the flat Earth has that incentive at all?
Hold on.
No,
wait,
I told
wait.
Petrie
you,
people,
we get
right?
fucking mocked. I've just told you I've been in fights, and that's not like the amount of times that it's been close
Yeah,
to
but I'm
fights.
still just
It's
answering the
probably
question,
been 50.
right?
Yeah, but we're not actually. It's not benefiting us in the fucking slightest to be broadcasting that the Earth's flat. And that's
Right.
all I fucking do everywhere I go, because I believe people have got the right to at least hear the information. If they want to mock it, then fair enough. But I still give them the fucking chance. Literally everywhere I go. I've been sharing this since I found it. Everywhere I go, in the shop, on the bus, on the train, in the bus stop, sitting in the park, I talk to anybody, and 9 out of 10 times it's flat Earth I talk about. I tell them about the server, and I try and get them in here.
I'm so glad I found this server. Like you really don't
Amazing,
understand,
brother.
Petrie. Like you don't understand, man. Like I had no idea this server existed until literally I was watching Eric Dubé launch a video talking to this guy who he had on his podcast, and he was talking about how he had a Discord server, and I heard Discord server. I was like, wait, what? There's a fucking Discord server that's not censored, that's not taken off any platform, that's somewhere I can find actually like-minded people. And you know what my first thought was, Petrie? My first thought coming into this fucking server? I
That
was
it
worried that it could have
stupid?
been that it could have been a
Okay, sorry.
honeypot. Literally. That it was a
Okay, yeah.
trap to trap fucking people that thought like this, and in order to, I don't know, keep track of their movements, because that's how paranoid it makes you, like, going down these rabbit holes, because we're not talking about, you know, going after your fucking local sheriff or local cop. We're going after big money industries, bro. Just really take a second and step back and think about how much money NASA gets, right? $85 million a fucking day. That's huge fucking money. You can hire a hitman on tour right now on the fucking Silk Road for 50,000 to kill anybody you want.
Probably less than that,
Is
bro.
that real?
Probably less
I've
than that.
heard
Is
about
that
those,
real?
but I have a feeling
bro?
I have a feeling they're just there to
Oh,
like
I don't want to
catch
hear about
people,
your
right?
feelings, bro. I was in cybersecurity. It's more than real. They
Okay.
traffic kids,
I
drugs,
genuinely that was a
hitmen.
genuine
Yeah, you
question.
could literally get a child ordered to your door through the dark web, mate. That's how
The world's
extreme it is.
dark, bro. The
Yeah,
world's a dark place, bro.
it's the hitman
Look.
ones specifically just seem like too absurd, but maybe
Yeah,
they
because
are.
you're
But
because you can't accept the fact that another human being would do that, because
Look
you're
at-
it's
very
not the
sheltered,
fact.
bro.
It
Bro,
seems
look
like
at the
amount of
it seems
people-
too
bro,
easy
look
to
at the amount of
find is
people who are
why I
being
think
put-
it's
Bro, look at the people who have been sent to fucking jail for trying to set up a hitman for to kill their fucking husband, just in
Right.
like a local pub, let alone on the
Wait,
dark
wait.
web.
Okay, so what you said there was basically my point. You said people getting caught for
Yeah.
trying to, and my point that they're not
Yeah.
saying they're
Some
not
people
real
don't
is
get
because
caught, dog.
I think that a lot of them are fake, right? They're just
Some
set up by the
What are
police to
you
catch.
talking about?
They're just set up by the police to like catch people who are trying
lot
to
of them
kill
are.
people, right?
Yeah, a lot of them are. Yeah.
Yeah, that's literally that's all I was saying. Okay, Bigger
Okay.
agrees with me. Okay,
Okay.
doesn't
That
it's-
doesn't deter the point that it fucking is real and that it happens.
Oh yeah, I was just adding to it, but I caused a
Okay.
ruckus.
So
Alright.
the point of all of us trying to say that there is no incentivization other than our own moral compass leading us down this path
Aye, man.
because we're tired of the fucking lies. We're tired of it.
I'm forced. I feel like I'm literally being fucking, I don't know, physically forced to do what I do. I feel like I've got no choice in trying to share this information because that one guy who told me that night when I was on acid, tripping out my fucking mind, because he took the time and effort to tell me, and still, even though I was laughing and I was joking, I was like, fucking hell, mate, you're crazy, man. He still persisted, still gave me vast information in the short period of time that I met him. So as far as I see it, I've got to try and do the same as what he done. He took the time and effort, so I feel that I've got to do it for the people that have been fooled.
Okay.
Let's think about it like this, bro. Let's say you know about a bomb, a legit bomb threat, like a legit fucking bomb threat, and you know exactly where it's gonna be, right? Would you not feel obligated to tell somebody?
Yeah,
No?
I mean, there's like a, what is it? What's the movie? Is it Don't Look Up? The recent movie about something like that, where there's like a meteor going to crash into the earth and no one believes it or something.
I don't know what that is, but just think about something. Just for example, a bomb threat, right? If you legit knew that somebody was gonna plant a bomb and you knew exactly where and when it was gonna go, and it was gonna kill innocent people, and children, women, anybody, right? Would you not feel compelled to tell somebody about that? Would you not feel guilty for not saying shit? Right?
Yeah, I get that.
Okay. Now
And the
picture
globe
that with
model is a
our shit.
bomb. The globe model's a bomb for children, bro. Children have got to believe that. Forget your senses. Don't trust them. Believe the stories and watch TV. Believe that. That is a fucking mental bomb. It's child abuse and it's fucking like it's widespread. I mean, like forget the amount of paedophilia in the world. They don't give a fuck about doing that to kids. Look at the fucking mental shit they're doing to them with this fucking model. Like they're saying, don't trust anything that you experience. Just believe us. It's fucking ridiculous.
I probably going a bit, but there was one other little thing on my list of things I wanted to ask. If you'd entertain it, it's just another little like question about a very specific.
So ignore what I said. Don't reply coherently to what's been said.
I need to go. It'd be either that or just leaving. I can just leave if that's better. But
mate, don't go.
I don't
away
have all the time in the world to talk about this forever.
Go, oh, please don't leave, man. Please don't leave. Please sit here and ignore what we say with some more kind of like. We desperately need you to ignore us even more.
We need your money incentivization.
Hey, Petrie, I'm gonna have to go soon. I want to hear the question though, and say a couple things to you. If we could chat for like 3 more minutes, because I'm relatively new to the True Earth. I say the True Earth. 1.5 years is as long as I've been into it. But what's this question you've got?
Too. Truly a globe. Oh, no, sorry. Anyway, so yeah, So the thing I was going to say is, I find it's another thing that's just a little bit weird and frustrating is the calling gravity just a theory just always seems a bit dishonest and weird.
It's not a theory.
Oh my god.
Gravity's not a theory, bro.
We can get there.
I've definitely seen it thrown around. I think I've seen it mentioned in here, in this server.
Bro, gravity is definitely not a theory, man. A theory is after experiments have been done and they've been repeated and repeated, then it's classed as a scientific theory. But gravity is neither Newtonian gravity or Einsteinian gravity. Neither of them have even got an experiment, a scientific experiment, i.e. they're not scientific. Gravity is not science, neither Newtonian or Einsteinian, especially Einsteinian, because that's literally just maths.
Yeah. Okay, so to be clear, you guys are okay with
any comment on what I said? No.
I don't have time to talk about it. I'm sorry, but it's literally all I wanted was this specific thing, so I'm just going to focus on it because I don't have time.
Well, don't bail yet, Petrie, because have you looked into electrostatics and the downward bias that is created from the Gaussian surface above and the ground, the literal ground, 100 volts per meter as you go up? Have you looked into that?
I have not, but just to clarify,
Yeah.
you guys
Ignore what I said and jump to your question.
Well,
That's all right.
I need to go.
I know you
Well,
need to
but-
go, but if
like,
you
Okay, so with the just a theory thing, so
Yeah.
you guys are okay with the idea of a scientific theory, and if
It's not even
theory of
science, bro.
gravity,
Bro,
can I
just went
finish
through-
my
bro,
sentence?
No, because just when you said it previously, I went over how gravity, neither Newtonian or Einsteinian, have even got an experiment. So how could it be a scientific theory? Because scientific theories are established after experiments are done and repeated by different people using the same the same setup, the same hypothesis, the same observation, isolating the same fucking variables. That's like not one
solid
science.
answer right
Neither
there.
of them.
If
Neither of them have got fucking an experiment. So how the fuck can it be a scientific theory if it's
Yeah.
not even science?
So my point was, if there was a theory of gravity and it was a scientific theory, you would
Which
not
one?
call. If that I'm not talking about a specific one, but if there was one, you wouldn't say it's just a theory. That's the only thing that I was having issues with, is the phrasing of just a theory as if that means it's not real. Like, that's the only issue I was.
Bro, I said to you, man, a scientific
answered your
theory is
question already.
established after
Yeah.
multiple
Yes.
experiments
So-
have been done
so-
following the same method. That
Do you
would
agree
then
with
be a
what I said?
scientific theory. There's not, but you've not got one experiment to start
Petrie,
with.
you don't
How the
have
fuck can
yes.
it be a theory?
You
You've not
don't
got
have
any
an experiment.
experiments.
You don't have an experiment. What experiment proves gravity?
I'm not
Go.
saying there is one. My statement was just about the wording of just a theory. I'm not making an
Yeah,
argument
not-
right
not
now for or
following the
against any
conversation.
theory in
A
particular.
fucking theory is established after multiple experiments using the same observation, the same hypothesis. Once it's done repeatedly and people are able to constantly repeat the same thing, then it's established as a scientific theory. There is
Okay.
not one fucking experiment for either of the gravity versions, unless you've got one.
So
But
you'd agree that if there was,
You've got
then it
one.
would be a theory and isn't just a theory. Yes? That's
If
all I
there
want
was
to know.
what?
If there was like this, if there was a theory of gravity and it was a proven thing, if it was, you would not call it just a theory. Because that's the thing that I see around people saying, and it's kind of annoying. That's the only
It would-
thing I was
But-
wondering.
Petrie,
Oh,
if
bro,
it had
it's
an
just
experiment,
wrong
if
when
it had
people
an
don't know what
experiment, then we wouldn't, we would understand that it would be a scientific theory. But you've got to understand, gravity is not a scientific theory.
Okay,
although,
yeah, cool. I
although
have to
you're
go.
told
It's
not a scientific
please.
theory, it's a
I
hypothesis.
get the point. But
I
need to
doubt
go.
it highly.
Okay.
Bro, try and change your
Good.
attitude when you come back. Hopefully, some of the shit that we've said that you've ignored, hopefully, some of it's set in some place that maybe you think to yourself later when you're lying in your bed or sitting having a cup of tea. You think,
Maybe.
"Wait a minute, those guys maybe actually made a little bit of sense there."
All right. Well,
No?
it's nice talking to you. So
Please come back, Petrie. Honestly,
No.
please come back. It's been a good chat. We appreciate you.
Bro.
Come back.
Root, I literally just fucking said something again and he just went, right, oh well, I'll just ignore that. Yeah, again, I've got to go.
you said hopefully. Like, there wasn't a question or anything. How do I respond to it?
You mean, bro, you've not responded to anything. You've responded, but you've not actually replied coherently related to what's just been said.
Come
Not
back,
one time.
Petrie. Come back, Petrie.
Yeah,
All right.
come back.
Look more into this shit. For
I'll-
real.
Aye.
Find it
Yeah.
on your
I'll
own
read
time,
the
man.
things that you sent,
Well,
and I'll come back to it. And maybe I'll
sent
have
you
some
gigs
things to
and
say
gigs
about
of
it.
stuff. So there's a vast amount of evidence in there showing you what we accept as reality,
Yeah.
what we accept as evidence, experiments, etc. So you'll be able to see all the arguments that we've got and fucking more.
Okay.
Yeah, and please, when you're
I'll-
looking and when you're thinking, Petrie, please try to stay away from fallacious reasoning and don't just rubbish points because everybody says it or it's the consensus. Literally, see if you can do it using logic without fallacious reasoning, and you will get there. I promise.
All right. I'll
I doubt it.
see you guys around.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll see you guys flat.
See you, big man.
Ha 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 ha.
Later.
Bye.
Welcome to Flat Earth.
That was fucking painful.
Whew.
Wow.
Well,
He's full of shit, man.
you know, as painful as that was a good first fucking little debate there for me.
No, bro, I wish it was actually on the live stream because people listening to that kind of bullshit answers and avoiding what's being said, but still trying to be polite. Like he's got that calm, and like his voice is very seems very chilled, even though he's fucking bullshitting at every opportunity, man. Because he was bullshitting constantly there, man.
Spake.
And if he'd
Let me-
sat much longer, he maybe started to feel a little bit triggered or something. Maybe that's why he decided he was going to leave, because he was starting to get a bit shaky.
Well,
When you go, sorry, what did you say?
Spake. You gotta hear me out, brother, because like you're not wrong. And anything you were approaching him, everything you were saying about every topic, it was right on. Do you want to let's speculate on why the fuck he didn't listen, right? Why do you think he didn't listen to anything you said? My guess is that he doesn't know anything about anything you said. Like he's never heard of any of these topics, so to him it's just like blah blah blah.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? Like it's just blah blah blah.
Yeah. It's kind of like somebody saying to me, like giving me bullshit equations and shit like that I can't even comprehend. So I'll just quickly try and fucking, I don't know,
Right.
like paddle out, like get the water out the boat and just fucking say some other shit and hope for the best that he can divert it to something else. That's what it seemed like to me. And then, but he's like, no, but I was actually going to answer you. Nah, bullshit. You weren't. You maybe are going to know, but
We all
you
knew that
definitely.
though. Yeah, we all know that. We all
But
know
listen,
that
when
thing. Go ahead,
when
baby.
he in his first like 10 minutes he brought up geodetic surveying. I think he sounded to me, I had a red flag when he brought that up. And then
Same.
as the conversation went on, I just felt like he'd been listening to anti-flat earthers, because every single point he brought up was sort of bang on, like he'd listened to a couple of Simon Dan YouTube videos and then decided to come in here.
That's exactly what I thought. Because I tried to search for the server on Google when he said he found it through Google. I had to literally go to page 3, bro. There's no fucking way.
I searched for it as well, man. You full of shit, man.
So, but we all know he's full of shit.
What is your profession?
See, old friend, I brought more soldiers than you did.